It is a story everyone knows. After a rude refusal by a local innkeeper, Mary and Joseph bedded down in a barn in Bethlehem. The next day, Mary gave birth to a son, the Son of God. Those are the biblical origins of Christmas. But centuries before Jesus walked the earth, early Europeans were celebrating light and birth in the darkest days of winter. In the Norse country, this winter celebration was known as Yule. Around December 21st, the winter solstice, fathers and sons would drag home the biggest log they could find and set it on fire. The Yule log warmed, but it also looked ahead. Each spark was said to represent a pig or calf to be born in the spring. Also dragged inside were evergreens, the one plant that could make it through a Norse winter. Evergreens proved that life persisted in this dark time.
There's a natural attraction to that which lives through the winter when one is struggling to survive through the winter. The evergreen is that part of nature that seems impervious to the coming of winter and the diminishing of the sun. And so it's an absolutely natural symbol, one which I think you react to almost without thinking about.
For as long as the Yule log burned, about 12 days, feasting and revelry reigned supreme. In fact, this was one of the few times that meat was abundant, since cattle had just been slaughtered for the long winter.
There is a necessity to kill most of the cattle, because you can't keep them alive over the winter when there's nothing to feed them on. You keep a few alive for breeding. But there is an opportunity for a great blowout, for a great feast, time to party.
The party raged inside in defiance of winter's deadly howl.
There is a spooky feel about the northern Yuletide festivals. You may be all right there in the hall with the blazing fires, but outside there are demons, there are spirits.
In Germany, the pagan god Odin lent his name to this midwinter holiday. Early Germans were terrified of Odin, whose nocturnal flights decided who would prosper or perish in the coming year. Later, we'd see another Christmas sky rider, Santa Claus. But for now, staying inside became the smartest choice at this frightening time of the year. A 1,000 miles away in Rome, winter was less harrowing, but the December festivals were just as elaborate. 1 week before the winter solstice, Romans began celebrating Saturnalia, a month-long orgy of food and drink. Named for the god Saturn, which meant plenty, Rome's established order was turned on its head during this wild, delirious time.
The Saturnalia celebrations were certainly times of revelry, of turning the social order upside down, of having the master pretend to be the slave and the slave pretend to be the master, sort of a time out of time in which one could celebrate a kind of disorder in the universe.
One of the holiday's important feasts was Juvenalia, which celebrated the children of Rome.
Although these early festivals are not necessarily about children particularly, though they are about fertility, children did have their particular place. The indulgence of children, of course, is very much a part of our modern Christmas, but it did have its place even in these ribald, drunken festivals that the Romans had.
Among the upper classes in Rome, solstice celebrations were significantly more sober. Many influential Romans worshipped Mithra, the god of the unconquerable sun. To this small but powerful sect, the birthday of Mithra was the holiest day of the year.
December 25th was the winter solstice in that part of the world, and it was also understood to be the birthday of the sun god, Mithra. And Mithra was said to be born from a rock. Shepherds came to worship him as he was an infant god born out in that pastoral place in the fields. And many of those stories, of course, have come into Christian tradition.
While Romans were worshiping the sun god, a new religion was taking hold throughout the empire. At first, Christians didn't celebrate the birth of Christ. His resurrection was the essential fact of the new religion. By the 4th century, however, the question of the holy birth became impossible to ignore.
There were questions within the church about how to even imagine Jesus. Some people believe that Jesus was purely a spiritual emanation of God, and others believe that Jesus must have actually appeared on earth. And so the decision to celebrate Jesus' birth meant that Jesus was actually a human or a human form.
For Christians, the fact of his birth was settled, but the date remained a mystery. The Bible doesn't mention exactly when Christ was born, but certain facts suggest it probably was not in December.
So if you're going to sort through the runes of the scriptures, Jesus was probably born in the spring. If the shepherds are out in the fields watching their flock by night, we're not talking about one of the cold spells at the heart of winter.
If pagan Rome was already celebrating the birth of Mithra on December 25th, it seemed natural to honor the birth of the Christ child at the same time. By the 4th century, the church made it official. December 25th was declared the feast day of the Nativity.
But of course, it's a very short step from the feast day of the risen sun, S-U-N, to the feast day of the risen sun, S-O-N. So in a sense, it's a very good choice, and the symbolism is there because the feast day of the unconquered sun was about fertility, about birth. And so obviously it's the Christian Christmas.
The church knew it could not outlaw the pagan traditions of Christmas, so it set out to adopt them. The evergreens traditionally brought inside were soon decorated with apples, symbolizing the Garden of Eden. These apples would eventually become Christmas ornaments. And holly, a traditional midwinter decoration, was recast to represent Christ's crown of thorns.
People already had their own agenda for this season, and that agenda was not one that was really radically changed when the names got changed from non-Christian to Christian names. The church pretty much had a policy of live and let live. If people would call themselves Christians and do lip service to the birth of the Savior, then let them do anything that they wanted to do with it. But on the other hand, by assigning the nativity to that time of year, the church really gave up the opportunity to control the way that celebration took place.
The tension between piety and revelry at Christmas would reach its logical and extreme conclusion in Puritan England, when the holiday would be considered so un-Christian it was done away with altogether. By the Middle Ages, Christianity had largely replaced the old pagan religions of Europe. On December 25th, the faithful were called to Gothic cathedrals like Notre Dame and Salisbury Cathedral in England for Christ's Mass, soon to be called Christmas. But out in the streets, the holiday was still more raucous than religious.
If you went to England around Christmas time, anytime before, say, 1800, you'd probably feel pretty ill at ease. You wouldn't think it was Christmas at all. What would you think it was? Maybe Mardi Gras, maybe New Year's Eve, maybe Halloween? Because Christmas in old-time England was really a carnival.
The houses of London were littered with brawling, drunken villagers and couples engaged in the most unholy activities. And each Christmas, a beggar or student was temporarily put in charge after being crowned the Lord of Misrule. The rest of the peasantry also got their once-a-year chance to grab power from the ruling classes.
They would go around to the houses of the rich, they would bang on the doors and demand entry, and once they were let in, the lord of the manor had to give them the best stuff that he had. He had to give them his best food, he had to give them his best beer, his best of everything.
And a jolly wassail, it's then you shall hear.
But if he didn't, they would threaten or actually perform a trick.
Come, butler, come fill us.
One surviving Christmas song says, if you don't give us what we want, then down will come butler, bowl, and all.
But if you do draw us a bowl of the small, then down shall go butler, bowl and all, bowl and all.
Some historians think that it performed the role of a safety valve. You might say that a wealthy man could make up for an entire year of small or large injustices to the poor by giving a generous Christmas handout just once in the year.
The rules of Christmas would soon change, however, as a wave of religious reform swept through England in the early 17th century. Led by Oliver Cromwell, the Puritans overthrew the king's forces in 1645 and vowed to rid England of all that was decadent. High on their list was English Christmas, and in 1652 they outlawed it altogether. Shops were ordered to stay open, churches were forced to stay closed.
The Puritans were always, I think, deeply attracted to those things that they were most opposed to. They had a fear that they might have too good of a time. I don't mean to trivialize them, but there was a deep fear that if these things were legalized, they themselves might enjoy them and their souls would be lost.
The Puritans may have said good riddance to Christmas, but the people never really stopped celebrating it. The holiday merely went underground. If Christmas pie was illegal, it began to be known as mince pie instead, which was just as delicious.
The deeper need for Christmas in the human heart, the need for celebration at a time of darkness, those needs made the battle against Christmas, gave it a few temporary wins, but it couldn't possibly secure a final victory.
In 1656, the men of Kent and Canterbury passed a resolution saying that if they could not have their Christmas day, they would have the king back on his throne. They soon got their wish. The monarchy was restored with Charles II, and Christmas was restored with him. It seemed the English could live without a king, but not without Christmas.
It has been argued that one reason for the restoration of the monarchy is because by restoring the monarchy, you also restored Christmas, or restored the proper English Christmas with its rituals, its traditions, and its carousing. Christmas is brought back, if you like, by popular acclaim.
The fight against Christmas may have been lost in England, but the Puritans had high hopes for the new colonies in America. In 1620, a small group of separatists came ashore at Plymouth, Massachusetts. Even more orthodox than their English cousins, these men and women hoped to rid themselves once and for all of the Christmas scourge. In 1659, Puritans in Boston followed their English brethren in outlawing Christmas. Anyone caught exhibiting the Christmas spirit was fined 5 shillings. Like in England, however, Christmas remained impossible to contain. The 1719 Boston Almanac doesn't list a Christmas holiday, but it does recommend that in late December you not let your children and servants run too much abroad at night.
From almost the beginning in Massachusetts, there's evidence that some people practiced Christmas, and that when they did so, it was in fact an opportunity to get drunk. And one of the most interesting little sidelights on this is the finding of historical demographers that there was actually a bulge in conceptions, the conception of children, that took place during Christmas.
Not all the colonies had such trouble with Christmas. Captain John Smith, leader of the Jamestown settlement in Virginia, wrote that their first New World Christmas was kept with plenty of good oysters, wild fowl, and good bread. Jamestown settlers were also the first to drink eggnog as a Christmas drink, the nog coming from the word grog, which means any drink made with rum. After independence, however, all things English fell out of favor in America, Christmas included. In fact, on December 25, 1789, the United States Congress sat in session and continued to stay open on Christmas Day for most of the next 67 years.
At the same time, there are people who are writing in their diaries that, isn't it too bad we don't have any holidays? So after the revolution, here is an entire nation that works hard, has forsaken many holidays, has given up many holidays because they were holidays that were mandated by the crown. And it is time to start thinking about how to populate the calendar.
As the 19th century dawned, Christmas would be one holiday that would pull the new nation together. But it wouldn't be the carnival Christmas of Old England, nor would it be particularly religious. America would invent its very own Christmas, and in the process, reinvent it for the whole world. New York City, 1820. Within the space of a generation, New York had gone from a backwater port town to the center of American commerce. Great wealth came to a few during these years, and moderate livings to the burgeoning middle class. But the Industrial Revolution had also created a class of the unemployed and unconnected, whose very existence threatened the cozy world of New York's middle rung. This was never more clear than at Christmas time.
Class conflict was emerging with the earliest stages of industrial capitalism. And so what had previously just had an edge of menace, a little bit of trick, but much more goodwill, much more treat, now changed, and the menace became increasingly obvious and increasingly serious. So that by the 1820s, the Christmas season in cities like New York was really a time of gang rioting, a really very, very nasty scene. So nasty, in fact, that in the year 1828, the New York City Council, for the first time, instituted a professional police force for the city as a direct result of a particularly savage Christmas season riot the year before.
New York's upper class was worried. So worried that a few of them set out to change the way the holiday was celebrated. Washington Irving was America's best-selling novelist, and in 1819 he used his expertise to write Bracebridge Hall, an enormously popular series of stories about Christmas at an imaginary English manor house. Here, the classes mingled effortlessly as squires welcomed friendly and grateful peasants into their homes. And in 1843, England's most popular writer, Charles Dickens, Illustrated News published this engraving of the royal family standing by the first Christmas tree most English had ever seen. In just a few years, a decorated fir could be found in nearly every English home at Christmas.
Within a few years, if you look at Victorian diaries or letters, people are saying, we had a Christmas tree as is customary, or we had a Christmas tree as we have always had. And of course, they hadn't always had one at all. It is a custom which had started in the 1840s. And by the late 1850s, people believed that the Christmas tree was part of the English Christmas.
Americans embraced the Christmas tree just as quickly as the English had. In fact, its connection to the Old World was one of its strongest selling points.
For a lot of Americans, these are going to be new holiday traditions, not something their parents observed, especially in the case of the more austere Protestants. So they're looking for a reason for what they're doing. And one of the most convenient reasons they can have is they can say, well, this is the way it's done in Germany, or this is the way it's done in England.
All of a sudden, Christmas traditions were popping up everywhere. In 1828, Joel R. Poinsett, America's minister to Mexico, brought back a green and red plant that seemed perfect for the new holiday. And in 1843, the English firm of J.C. Horsley printed the first Christmas card. A newly efficient postal service in England and America helped make Christmas cards an overnight sensation. It seemed as though every vestige of the old Bacchanalian Christmas was gone, but even the Victorians couldn't clean up Christmas completely.
Victorians were particularly keen on mistletoe because, of course, you could actually kiss a lady, or a lady could kiss a man, that normally, in the normal course of events, she would not be allowed to kiss. So in a society which was fairly strict, one vestige of that licentious Christmas from earlier times is the sprig of mistletoe. No Victorian Christmas gathering was without it.
By mid-century, Christmas was everywhere in America, in the streets, in the homes, in the marketplace. The one place you could not find Christmas was in church. Most Americans were Protestant, and the Protestant church had ignored Christmas for years. But Protestant Victorians longed for official religion on this sacred day.
What a number of them do initially is say, well, if we can't find a Christmas service in our Baptist church or our Presbyterian church, let's go see what the Catholics are doing, or let's go see what the Episcopalians are doing. And increasingly that puts pressure on these Latter-day Puritans to have Christmas services because there's a way in which lay people begin to expect it.
Church services, mistletoe, and Christmas trees. America's new holiday now seemed firmly in place. But Victorian America had one last contribution to the Christmas season. A jolly elf who shimmied down the chimney would soon personify Christmas for generations to come.
Here comes Santa Claus, right down Santa Claus Lane.
We borrowed the Christmas tree from Germany and the Christmas card from England. But one Christmas icon was developed right here in America, Santa Claus.
Hang your stocking, say your prayers, for Santa Claus comes tonight.
Long before Santa, however, there was St. Nicholas, a Greek Orthodox bishop who became one of the most popular saints of the Middle Ages. On December 6th, St. Nicholas Day, good children woke to gifts from the kindly saint. Bad children sulked away with nothing. In Holland, he was known as Sinterklaas, and when the Dutch came to this country, they brought tales of their gift-giving Nicholas with them. This quaint custom caught the imagination of Clement Clark Moore, a well-heeled Episcopal minister in New York City. In 1822, Moore wrote a poem for his children about a good-natured saint who came down the chimney on Christmas Eve.
'Twas the night before Christmas, and all through the house not a creature was stirring, not even a mouse. The stockings were hung by the chimney with care, in hopes that St. Nicholas would soon be there.
Moore dreamed up Dasher, Dancer, and the rest of the reindeer, along with Santa's entrance through the chimney. But at first he was embarrassed by the poem. He worried it was too frivolous for a man of the church.
Clement Moore was a minister. Here a minister who should be on the other side is promoting a secular Christmas with reindeer and all the rest of it. But there was no mention in the poem of anything religious. And in fact, that's why he didn't reveal who he was. In the beginning, he didn't reveal the authorship.
Moore soon owned up to the poem when it became clear that every child in America was scanning the horizon for reindeer on Christmas Eve. Less clear was what exactly this Santa Claus looked like. At first, Santa came in all shapes and sizes: a pagan sorcerer, a frightening gnome, even a drunkard on a turkey-driven sleigh. Then, in 1863, Thomas Nast, a cartoonist for Harper's Weekly, settled the matter once and for all with his version of the Christmas saint. Nast Santa was rounder and jollier than his austere Catholic cousin. He looked, in fact, like a man of his times, a man who would fit right in with the rotund, bewhiskered robber barons of the late 19th century. But Santa was a robber baron in reverse.
Instead of taking from the less fortunate, he gave to the less fortunate. He gave to people regardless of whether they'd done something or not. In other words, he gave to children. Instead of gathering together wealth, he gets rid of wealth, and he does it yearly.
A captain of industry with a heart of gold. It's no wonder that by the 1840s, Santa Claus was an irresistible image to America's retailers. Here was a guy who could sell anything at Christmas, but make it seem like you were not buying gifts at all.
Santa Claus provided a way for both children and parents to pretend that Christmas presents were not in the realm of the commercial marketplace, that Christmas presents existed in the realm of pure domestic affection. So Santa Claus played a very important role for both parents and children. He took presents out of the realm of commerce.
If the image of Santa could sell merchandise, retailers soon figured that a real-life Santa would boost sales even further. Santa has been showing up in department stores since the mid-1800s. And since then, nothing has loomed larger to a child at Christmas than this annual pilgrimage.
If you want to talk to Santa Claus, where do you go? You go to the shopping mall. Now, this is strange for a saint to be living pretty much full-time in a department store. It doesn't bother Americans because we are, after all, a capitalistic society. It makes perfect sense for us to have our national saint in a department store. That's commercial sense for us, dollars and cents.
Author and humorist Gene Shepard immortalized this rite of passage in A Christmas Story, an autobiographical account of one boy's Christmas.
You know, I'd been thinking for weeks what I wanted for Christmas. I figured the best thing to do is to tell Santa Claus about that. And I looked up at that Santa Claus, and he had these big, watery blue eyes and a huge beard and all, and he's looking at me right in the eye. And he was so impressive that my mind went blank.
Ho, 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 ho. Then what's your name, little boy?
It's like if all of a sudden you're sitting on the president's lap. And he says, "What would you like me to pass in legislation, Sonny?" I mean, your mind's going to go blank. You can't remember any of this stuff. And so at that point, Santa Claus looked at me and he says, "All right, how about a football, kid?"
How about a nice football?
A football? I wanted a BB gun. So he pushed me off his lap, and this elf grabbed me and threw me down a slide that went down into the snow. And I laid there for a minute, and I knew that I was not a fit person to talk to the great. Santa Claus was obviously a star.
A celebrity of this magnitude obviously needed a sidekick. In 1939, Robert May, a copywriter at the Montgomery Ward department store, dashed off a promotional children's book to lure Christmas shoppers into the store. May's story told of an ostracized reindeer with a big red nose.
Poor Rudolph. Where most reindeers' noses are brownish and tiny, Rudolph's was red, very large, and quite shiny.
This physical, shall I say, disability turns out to be an asset because it's a foggy Christmas Eve.
This fog will be hard to get through.
And this light on the nose enables poor old stumbling Santa Claus to get through.
And how the reindeer loved him as they shouted out with glee. Rudolph the red-nosed reindeer, you'll go down in history.
So you have this handicapped sort of child figure helping the benighted parental figure make Christmas possible.
Rudolph brought Christmas full circle. It was now the children who really made Christmas possible. Only they understood the meaning of this enchanted day. From Washington Irving to Montgomery Ward, a battle for Christmas had been fought and won by kids. By the 1920s, few vestiges of the carnival Christmas were left in America. One exception was this Christmas parade in New York City, where a glimpse of Santa Claus was worth the all-day wait. But by the 1950s, Christmas was strictly a family affair, with eggnog by the fire, Bing on the hi-fi, and a load of presents under the tree.
Chestnuts roasting on an open fire, Jack Frost nipping at your nose, tiny tots with their eyes all aglow will find it hard to sleep tonight.
The joy of opening up gifts is one of the things that makes Christmas what it is.
He's loaded lots of toys and goodies.
It's the mystery of all these packages. And I think that's why we wrap them. It's exciting to have a package lying there with silver paper on it. You don't know what's in it. And you open it up and there it is. It's something that's really great, that you really wanted.
But to give presents, you have to shop for them. And shopping has long been at the heart of the Christmas season. Critics say this yearly buying frenzy obscures the real reason for Christmas, to celebrate the birth of the Christ child.
It's celebrating the birth of Christ and the gift that God gave us, and as much as the gifts we give our children on Christmas Day. But she wants all the toys, right?
I think a lot of it is more commercialized than when I was younger. I remember going to church and having family dinners being more of an important aspect of it. It's difficult because the children don't grow up realizing what the real meaning is.
People say that Christ has been lost in Christmas. Implicit in that is the idea that Christ had ever been totally the center of Christmas. And as Christmas has been celebrated ever since it was instituted as a feast of the Nativity, there's always been other ritual, other ceremony, other activity associated with Christmas, in addition to Christ.
At the All Souls Church in New York City, Christmas Eve services give the secular side of the holiday some stiff competition.
At All Souls, we sing carols. We bring in choir and orchestra who do great music from the Christmas tradition. Certainly today, most churches revel in the celebrations as completely as do the corporate malls. That's not a bad thing. It actually goes back to the sources of this kind of holiday. where we recognize that people have deep needs at this time of year, to connect with that which is very important, but also to celebrate.
I think it's 50–60% of the population going to one kind of Christmas religious service or another. So clearly, a lot of people haven't lost sight of the religious meaning. But what seems to be the concern here is that there's a struggle, a competition over what the real meaning is, and a sense that the religious is not competing effectively with all these other competitors.
But perhaps Christmas in America is more a combination of the sacred and the secular, and less a competition between the two.
I think that if people had Christmas with just Christ in it, it would not be a holiday that would come out into the streets the way that it does, because the trees, the carols, the shopping, all of that becomes the cultural material that holds the religion in place.
This cultural material is everywhere. Certain songs and movies have become as much a part of Christmas as the tree.
I don't want to get married to anybody, you understand? I want to do what I want to do. And you...
Movies such as It's a Wonderful Life, our hunger for them, our delight in them, reflects a deep potential goodness in the human soul. But these are good movies. They have, people do good things and they get rewarded for them.
To my big brother George, the richest man in town.
Someone might say that this was a trivialization of Christmas. I think it probably is coming a little closer than many of the things we do to tapping the true Christmas spirit in the broadest sense of that word.
That's a Christmas present from a very dear friend of mine.
Look, Daddy, teacher says every time a bell rings, an angel gets his wings.
That's right. That's right.
Attaboy, Clarence. Nowadays, kids watch new films and new TV shows.
Why, Mr. Scrooge! Merry Christmas!
And they will grow up thinking that that was the way Christmas always used to be.
You leave me no alternative but to give you... Toys! Yes, toys. No. I'm giving you a raise.
We always reinvent, and every time we reinvent, we think that what we're reinventing is something that has no beginning.
You can reinvent Christmas or celebrate it the way your great-grandparents did. The only thing you cannot do is ignore Christmas. To not catch a glimpse of a Christmas tree or hear a note of jingle bells would be nearly impossible. And since 98% of Americans celebrate Christmas in some form, it looks like that won't change for quite some time.
You see, it gives you a kind of sense of belonging. You are who you are because of the way you celebrate Christmas, in part. I mean, if you're celebrating an Armenian Christmas or an Italian Christmas, whatever it is, whatever your group is, if you celebrate Christmas the same way every year, there's a sense of continuity here. And the new children are brought in and, in fact, are socialized by saying, well, no, this is how we celebrate Christmas in our own family.
Something touches American somewhere down deep in his belly button about Christmas. He can't really explain what it is about Christmas that he enjoys so much. He just knows that when all those red and green lights go up, you know, on the street, and you see Santa Clauses walking around with their bells, there's something happens to you. You enjoy it. Now, you can be cynical all you want, but you still enjoy it.
Mic check, mic check. Give me a Yahoo if I can be heard, family. All praises, all glory, all honor to the Most High. Give me a Yahoo if I can be heard. Give me a Yahoo if I can be heard. Man, as y'all see, according to the heathen themselves, that Christmas ain't got nothing to do with the Messiah of the Bible. It has nothing to do with him. You're dealing with pagan elements from various pagan or heathen nations. You understand? Who had these things going on long? I'm talking about hundreds, if not thousands of years before Mashiach or Messiah, who you read about in the Bible, was even born. You're dealing with heathen scribes who try to amalgamate his story or his birth narrative into, you feel me, this whole narrative of Christmas. And what was crazy to me about what we just watched was that they were saying, look, Christmas wasn't even in the churches at first. Christmas wasn't even in the churches at first, y'all. This deal is purely secular, purely pagan. And then living in a capitalistic construct such as America, it got everything to do with money. Why you think old Jolly Saint Nick, when we were young, the people used to take you to the mall while they shopping for Christmas gifts and sit you on this heathen's lap. Sit you right on his lap. Right? Because at the mall is where they're getting the gifts. Right? Look, when we raise our children not to be liars, always speak the truth, but then, you know, they get older and realize, hey, the things that we was doing, the things that you taught us to do were lies. Were lies. So if you are a parent that's still kind of on the ropes or whatever, hey, look, eventually you're going to have that conversation with your children, especially in this age, y'all. It's the information age. Everything can be looked up. You feel me? There's nothing new that we saying that ain't been said for a very, very long time. You understand? So if that's the case, then when your children finally be like, hey, I got a question for you. Hey, we need to talk. Why do we do Christmas? Can you show that to me, like with the Bible that we hold dear to? And you can't do it. Either pride gonna kick in. One or two things gonna happen. Pride gonna kick in, and you're gonna be like, well, we just been doing this, and this is what we do it, and this is why we do it. As if you can just reinvent something. You feel me? Or you're going to be like, you know what? That's a good question. I don't know why. All right, let's sit down and get some understanding together. You feel me? So I hit the like button, hit the share button, hit the thumbs up or thumbs down. It don't matter. Shout out to all the haters, jawjackers, and naysayers. We love y'all too. And y'all, this is coming from their sources. The very people who celebrate the Christmas and the New Year's and all that. All right. I'm about to go into the Catholic Encyclopedia too. Catholic Encyclopedia tell you right in there, Christmas ain't never had nothing to do with no Messiah or who we call Christ. All right, I got an excellent PDF that I had, or a book that I had. I got the PDF form of it right now. But a book I had, y'all, going back 15 years, so powerful, written back in the 1800s, and it's going into, you know, the feasts, the feast days or the holidays that the quote unquote Catholic Church has adopted. And how they have nothing to do with the scriptures at all. Everything is an amalgamation of ancient mystery religious schools of thought, all right, and other deified so-called gods and goddesses. It has nothing to do. So what you want to do is be careful. If this is your first time listening, you know, we found answers in the scripture. Now, when our eyes were first open, people were showing this to us in the Bible, like why this ain't in the Bible. Right, for the longest, the brothers that I, you know, rock with, we always was offering people a couple grand, like $5,000 a piece. If you can show us Christmas given in the Bible by the God of the Bible, if you can show that, then you and everybody you know come and get $5,000 a piece. And out of all the years I've been in Israel, nobody ever showed up to collect. You know why? Because it's not in there. You've adopted something else, and they just put Christ's name on it. You think it got to do with him. Same way they distorted his image, same way they distorted his teachings and all that, same way. If they can distort his image and his teaching, surely when it comes down to the narrative of his birth or, you know, the actual feast or observances that he observed, yeah, they can, you know, those things can be manipulated as well. So if you're a student of truth, if you're about truth, just listen to us. And listen to us, you know, take notes, ask questions. I mean, if you want to ask any questions after the video is over, check the description link. Our email is in the description. Ask your questions. Ask your questions. But surely we should be able to find this in the Bible. All right, because majority of the people hold the Bible to be, the word of God. All right, so if anywhere, if this thing that we have been accustomed to doing, if this is authentic and if this is righteous, then surely we should be able to find it in the Bible. All right, and that's how you holler at people about it, And I'm past the point of trying to force, my perspective or what I see, but it ain't nothing but a conversation to be had. Any family members of mine listening, there's nothing but a conversation to be had. All we gotta do is open up the scriptures and let's see where they lead. And then at that point, you just got to ask yourself a question, right? Are you willing to, be obedient to what you're reading, or are you going to come up with every excuse because of how long you've been doing something? For instance, if we all know we're going the wrong way, right? Eventually somebody gonna have to say, hey, y'all, we missed the exit 10 miles back. We 10 exits past this deal. Get off at the next exit, hit a U-turn, get back on, and let's get on back to our destination. In other words, there's nothing wrong with correcting or amending your ways. That actually shows true repentance. Like that shows you sincere. Like, look, my bad. I'm sorry. I never knew that what I was doing was, false. I mean, my heart was in it. I had good intentions behind it. But nonetheless, y'all, it's rooted in the lie. It's rooted in the lie. All right. And there's no one who can bring something clean out of that which is unclean. That which is crooked cannot be made straight. None of this started or was inspired by the Almighty. It has everything to do with different nations and how they deify their gods and observe and conceptualize their gods and all that, and around the winter solstices and all of it. It has nothing to do. And it ain't just Christmas. I'm gonna hit you with everything we grew up doing. Traditional speaking, everything. You understand? It has nothing to do with the power, or aka the God or the Yah, the Bible. And that may be hard for you. And if you think we lying, get your $5,000. You should easily be able to prove Christmas in the Bible. And we'll cash you on out, get you together, you and everybody you know. Surely you can use some extra money, right? So look, before I go to the matter of fact, I'm gonna go there first. Good to see y'all in the building. Bless up. Let's get there first. For y'all that don't know, Catholic Encyclopedia. Let me share my screen. Let me share my screen. Let me show y'all that. Catholic Encyclopedia. All right, let's share it. Let's share it. All right. All right, for y'all that don't know, this is the matter of fact, let me push that in the link for y'all so y'all can click on it yourselves. You ain't got to say this is what Malaki talking about. Nah, say click on it yourself and do your own research, man. It's all there. More Yahoo say I got 10K. Mally, we ain't broke, Hebrew. That what's up, huh? See, it's on the line now. So if we lying, then come get your money. Come get your money. And y'all, surely the Catholics will be able to tell you what it is. I mean, it all started with the Roman Catholic, the Vatican, and all that. Every section or every so-called denomination of Christianity, y'all, believe it or not, is up under the umbrella of Roman Catholicism. It is. All right. So what I just put in the chat for y'all, that's the Catholic.org encyclopedia. You can pull it up yourself. All right. It's very, very easy. The stuff we talking about, y'all, is very, very easy. All right. You ain't even got to dig deep to go find this stuff. Back in the day, our people used to have to spend hours in the library to find this stuff. Now it's at your fingertips. All right. So this is the Catholic Encyclopedia of Christmas. Origin of the word. Origin of the word. Look at this. This is wild, man. The word for Christmas in late Old English is Christus Maisi. the Mass of Christ. Mass of Christ means the death of Christ. Means the body of Christ. Look at this, y'all. First found in what? 1038. That's the common era. Y'all, that's 1,000 years after the Messiah had been on this earth. That's how we know Christmas is not in the Bible. All right. The word for Christmas in late Old English is Christis Maisi, the Mass of Christ, first found in 1038. Well, the historical Messiah lived 1,000 years before that. All right. And Christis Misi in 1131. In Dutch, it is cursed Misi, cursed. Good night. In Latin, Dies Natalis. Once comes the French Noel. Not the Noel. A lot of us grew up singing Noel. Noel. An Italian to Natalie. In German, I can't even pronounce that. Weichenfest. From the preceding sacred visual, the term Yule. Y'all remember that one nut job called himself Soldier Boy? He used to run around talking some Yule. How many of y'all know that's an Anglo-Saxon German term, basically? The term Yule is of disputed origin. It is unconnected with any word meaning wheel. The name in Anglo-Saxon was Gioll, feast, Giola, the name of a month of Icelandic Eol, a feast in December. So first and foremost, y'all, Christmas was nowhere in existence until the 11th century. Until the 11th century, y'all. 1,000 years after the Messiah had already been born and then resurrected. All right, if y'all understand that, give me a 9 up in the chat. I ain't trying to lose nobody. There was no such word as Christmas in the earth before 1038. Common era. All right, y'all, that really mean like 1,000 years ago, there was no such thing as Christmas. No word is Christmas. That's simple. That's simple. Y'all see how we just look things up? You're under no excuse. You in this age now, there is no excuse for you to be ignorant concerning your worship and what you're doing. You have no excuse. Everything's at the tip of your thumbs. Everything's at the tip of your fingers. Look it up. Your thumb muscle should be strong anyway. Everybody play the game and be on that iPhone or that Android, type it in everything. You should easily be able to look these things up. Don't believe me? Type in the Catholic Encyclopedia, Origin of Christmas. Type in the Pagan Origins of Christmas. Or just type in the origins of Christmas. Where does it come from? And look at all the information out there. The information that's for it and the information that's against it. And then come up with it. If you're about truth, and arrive at an understanding. Nobody can force you though. Early celebration. Look at this. Y'all, look at this. Right from the Catholics. Christmas was not among the earliest festivals of the church. Ooh-wee. Ooh-wee. So y'all, that means your brother Malaki ain't making none of this up. Do y'all see this? That says Christmas was not among the earliest festivals of the church. Y'all, this is the Roman Catholic Encyclopedia. So they know this is something that's man-made. They know this is something that has nothing to do with the God of the Bible. They know it. Because if it was, it would have been a part of the church or the assembly, or what we know is, Messiah's body, Christ's body. That you read about in the book of Acts and, the Gospels and all that. Christmas was not among the earliest festivals of the church. It was not. Irenaeus, that I got some of his books too. He's a church historian. Y'all living back during the 4th and 5th centuries. Y'all, you talking 1,600 years ago, they telling you this. And Tertullian omitted from their list of feasts. Origen, I got some of his writings too. Glancing perhaps at the discreditable imperial Natalia. That's what this used to be. This used to be a Roman feast called Saturnalia. Asserts, you feel me? Then he gives his, his quotations, that in the scriptures, sinners alone, not saints, celebrate their birthday. All right. And he gives some more quotes. Can still ridicule the birthdays of the gods. Alexandria. The first evidence of the feast is from Egypt. Oh, wait. Y'all, this ain't got nothing to do with you. This ain't got nothing to do with you. The first evidence of the feast is from Egypt. AD 200. So, y'all, that's the 3rd century. That's 1,800 years ago. Clement of Alexandria says that certain Egyptian theologians over-curiously assign not the year alone, but the day of Christ's birth, placing it on the 25th of Pecan, let's say May 20th, in the 28th year of Augustus. Thought they did this believing that the 9th month in which Christ was born was the 9th of their own calendar. Others reached the date of the 24th or 25th for Mufti, 19th or 20th April. With Clement's evidence may be mentioned the De Pasque Computus, written in 243 and falsely ascribed to Cyprian, which places Christ's birth on March 28th, because on that day the material sun was created. Look at this. So y'all going back all that time, that they're showing you that the whole idea of a December the 25th birth is something that's relatively new. They was arguing over when he was born back then, and they in April, they in May, they in March. Look at this. And this is in the Catholic Encyclopedia. But Lupi was shown that there is no month in the year to which respectable authorities have not assigned Christ's birth. Wow. He said, but Lupi has shown that there is no month in the year. There is no month in the year to which respectable authorities have not assigned the Messiah's birth. Clement, however, also tells us that the Basileans celebrated the Epiphany, and with it probably the Nativity, on 15th or the 11th, which of Tibi, which is January 10th or 6th. At any rate, this double commemoration became popular, partly because the apparition to the shepherds was considered as one manifestation of Christ's glory and was added to the greater manifestation celebrated on January 6th, partly because the baptism manifestation, many codices wrongly give the divine words as, I can't even pronounce it, thou art my beloved son, this day I have begotten you, in thee I am well pleased, read Luke 3:22. Abraham Eclinicis quotes the constitutions of the Alexandrian church for a what does that say? A Dies Nativitas, I can't even pronounce that. Epiphanius quotes an extraordinary semi-Gnostic ceremony at Alexandria, in which on the right of the 5th or 6th of January, a cross-stamped Koray was carried in procession round a crypt to the chant, today at this hour, Koray gave birth to the eternal. John Cassian records in his collations, written in 418 to 427. All right, so roughly 1,600 years ago, that the Egyptian monasteries still observed the ancient custom, but on December the 25th, which is the 29th of Koyak, in parentheses, December the 25th, and January the 1st, 433, Paul of Emesa preached before Syro Alexandria, and his sermons show that the December celebration was then firmly established there, and calendars prove its permanence. The December feast therefore reached Egypt between 427 and 433. Y'all, that means 1,600 years ago. 1,600 years ago is when the ancients start celebrating the birth of what we call Christ in December. All right. If you understand that so far, give us a Yahoo up in the chat. All right. Ain't trying to lose nobody. All right. And y'all read the rest of that when you get time. We're gonna jump into some scriptures, but it gets into it, man. You're gonna be like, dang. I got another book I want to read y'all though. That's why I ain't gonna take all day. All right. That's why I ain't gonna take all day. Oh, I see something right here. What's this? Gregory the Naz. Okay, no, I thought it said Nazarene. All right, let me stop that. We're gonna pull up. What we're gonna do is gonna pull up I don't know who all these Germans are that be coming up in here, y'all. All right, so we finna pull up the scriptures. So pull up the scriptures real quick and get into it. A lot of this is Israelite 101 for y'all that don't know, but if you're new to it, rock with us. Take your notes. We're about to go into some of this and show you how the Christmas trees and all that, and all this stuff, y'all, had been being practiced in the ancient world amongst heathens who do not serve the Almighty. Centuries before the Messiah was born. This has nothing to do with him. It has nothing to do with him. Everything to do with idolatry, right? And reverence and debauchery. And believe it or not, the suicide, the spirit of heaviness is up tenfold during this time of year. Everybody claim they happy. No. Suicide is up. The spirit of heaviness is on our people heavy during this time of year. All right. So we're going to get into some basics. All right. Y'all write down Jeremiah 10 for anybody who don't know like these scriptures. These are the basic foundation scriptures to show you that Christmas is not of the God of the Bible. What you've been doing is tradition passed down by our fathers and our mothers that they learned from their oppressors. All right? You learned that from our oppressors. And like my YAH'KI just said, they said it started in Egypt. We have not been able to shake Egypt. Sure ain't, boy. You Israelites, you Hebrews, boy, for some way, shape, form, or fashion, get still connected to Kemet, Egypt. You understand? You got to watch that idolatry. That's one thing. When the Most High tells you in his commandments, have no other gods before him, hear, O Israel, the Lord, the Yah, our God, is one, and not to make graven images and all that, you need to take that serious. You feel me? It's more than just a cute little carving. You understand? There are spirits attached to these things. You always got to be conscious of what's going on. All right? Now, that's not the image of the Most High. You are the image of the Most High. You are made in his image. You understand? And the image of the Most High, you understand, is divine. It's not statues. It's not totem poles. It's not Christmas trees and all that. You got to watch yourself. You hanging up trees and, it's all type of sexually perverted symbols on it, balls and wreaths, and, you're bowing to it without you knowing, running up under the tree to grab gifts, bowing. And there's a lot of idolatry that's going on. You understand? So now is the time for you to rise up out of it. You understand? To walk and vibrate as the son or the daughter of the Most High you've been called to be. All right? One thing we're not supposed to be doing is compromising, because that makes you the Most High's enemy. So look at this. Jeremiah 10, the top of it says a satire on idolatry. Look at this. Now, y'all tell me what this sounds like. This is crazy. Now, Jeremiah lived right before the Babylonians took down Jerusalem. All right, roughly 600 years before the Messiah was even born. This is already on record. All right, hear ye the word. Hear ye the word which the Most High, Yah, or the Lord, speaketh unto you, O house of Israel. For y'all that don't know, for anybody that's new, that's listening, all right, the Negro, yes, I say it unapologetically, who's known as the Negro. All right, the victims of this transatlantic slave trade and all this oppression and the Spanish Inquisition and the rape, robbing, and pillaging and thrown off your land and totally destroyed. Who's at the bottom? Who's still who's still being killed through gang violence. Believe it or not, you are the house of Israel. Everything you've known that you are or known as today, somebody told you that's who you are. You understand? But that, like a Negro or a nigger or a Crip or a Blood or a Mason or an Episcopalian or a Methodist or a Kappa or Alpha, that has no historical context when it comes to the ancient world. Like if we jump in a time machine and drop you back off in the ancient world, and here you go talking about you a Alpha, a Kappa, a Crip, or a Blood, like you wouldn't be recognized by nobody. Israel would be recognized though. All right, that's your nation. That's who you are. All right, he is a prince of the power, or Yashar El. Yashar means upright. El means God, so you represent the upright God. Yashar also means straight. El means God, so you are the custodians. You are the ones who have a straight, direct connection with the Creator or the God of heaven and earth. It's made you to be Israel. But who you know today as the Negro, shiftless, feeble-minded, on drugs, killing one another, single-parent house homes, victims of slavery. You understand? Victims of economic oppression and every form of oppression there is out here. You are the house of Israel. So yes, this is talking directly to you. Directly to you. And one thing your historical oppressor has realized is this, because he studied you. Yes, your neighborhoods are projects. All right. You've been studied. All right. One thing he realizes is this: keep him defiled. Keep him doing what we do. And he'll never take his rightful position. He'll never cash in on his birthright. Because you are the image of the Almighty. You are the gods of the earth. Psalms 82, ye are gods. We're going to die like men and fall like one of the princes, huh? So hear ye the word which the Most High speaketh unto you, O house of Israel. Thus saith the Most High, learn not. Learn not. Y'all, that means don't do it. Learn not the way of the heathen. All right? Learn not the way of the heathen. My bad, y'all. Look on that real quick. All right, please forgive me. Get back there real quick. I was trying to pull up the whatchamacallit. All right, we're gonna roll with it. Bear with me. I got you. Right back for the side order. Here we go. Click on the Strong's definition. I'm gonna zoom in. Let's eat. Thus saith the Most High, learn not the way of the heathen. Now, who are the heathens? Who are the heathens? Look at this.
Strong's H 1471. Goy.
The heathens or the other nations or the Gentiles. You're not a Gentile. The other nations are, whether you're talking about the Chinese, whether you're talking about the Italians, the Polacks, whether you're talking about the Hispanics, whether you're talking about the East Indians, whether you're talking about the Russians, whether you're talking about the Arabs, you understand? Whether you're talking about native or indigenous Africans. I ain't talking about the Hebrews on the continent, but you know what I'm talking about. All right. All those are Gentile nations, or who the Most High calls heathens. He tells his people, don't learn their ways. Because in learning their ways, and specifically how they worship their gods, is how you become likened unto them, and you become the enemy of the Almighty. So you have a commandment not to learn their ways. And you want your oppressor to fall, the quickest way, the fastest way to get him to fall is to stop doing what he's doing. Stop learning from him. Stop learning from him and how he conceptualized God or Yah. Stop that. Because in doing that, we're making our mighty one more and more angry. All right? So Goy. Now look at this. Look at this. KJV translates Goy or heathen as nation, heathen, Gentiles, 30 times people, this and that. Okay. Nation, people, usually of a non-Hebrew people. Of a non-Hebrew people. Usually. Because you know what, y'all, when we start acting like them, we become, even though we're descendants of, you see this, Abraham. Even though we're descendants of Abraham, even though we are the chosen people, guess what? the title of Gentile or heathen falls on us. So yes, a lot of our people unknowingly and knowingly are acting like heathens right now. Heathens are the Most High's enemies. You were called not to worship like that. All right, look at this, of Israel. You mean tell me Israel could take on the vibration of a non-Hebrew people and be heathens? Yeah, you seeing it now. Black Santa Clauses and Negroes going crazy over Christmas shopping, and you understand? Got the Jackson 5 playing and kissing up under the mistletoe, drinking eggnog, and talking about getting the Christmas spirit. No, y'all, that's not the spirit of the Almighty. Now look at what you really are taking on. You're taking on the nature of beasts, because those on a higher level, especially amongst those who have snatched our identity, the Ish people, you know how they look at you? They look at you as if you are the Gentile, even though they are. And they understand based off Hebrew etymology, based off the Hebrew numerology system called gematria, based off the definitions of the Hebrew letters and how you line them up and all that. Really, you're not human. That's why it says a swarm of locusts or other animals. So when the Zionists call you goy, or when they refer to you as a Gentile, they're calling you an animal, subhuman. You see this? No, ye are the sons and daughters of the living God. And you were called and commanded not to do what the heathens do. Do not learn their ways. Do not learn their ways, y'all. Christmas is one of their ways. Christmas is one of their ways. Goyim equal nations. And those on a certain level amongst the Zionists, even though they are the Goyim or they are the Gentiles, they have taken on the identity of Israel, and they call you the Gentile, and thus they look at you as an animal. Yeah, real talk. And for y'all to know anything about the Hebrew language right here, is how you spell it in Hebrew. Matter of fact, I go back up to the top so y'all can see it a little better. All right, now look at this right here. This is read from right to left. Some of us read the language. All right. So that's where you get goy from. Some say God, Yah, but it's goy if you look at it, right? All right. Now look at this. All right. Now, every Hebrew letter has a numerical value to it, and it has several definitions, like 7 definitions apiece. It's a very, very powerful language. The only language in the earth that comes close to it is the chemical language. All right. So if you know what you're looking at, and this is why right here, this is why the goyim or the goy are looked at as not humans. All right. Now, this is read from right to left. So the first letter in this is called the Gamel. Okay. That's it right there. That's the Gamel. All right. The numerical value for it is 3. All right. And it has many definitions, but one of the definitions of it, if you look at it, y'all, is a foot. It's a foot. All right. So just remember that. All right. Actually, a foot. All right. So Gamel. Gamel. All right. The next symbol to the right is the Wav. Some say Vav. Wav. Numerical value 6. And one of the definitions, if you look at it, one of the definitions is a connector or a spine, like a spinal cord. So we got foot and we got spine. All right. All right. And this last symbol right here floating in midair is the Yod. Yod. Numerical value of 10. All right. And one of the representations of it is the hand. So true about this, y'all. You got foot, spine, and head that make up the word goy or a Gentile or a heathen. And those of the Zionists look at the goy or the Gentile or the heathens as not human. But true about this: foot, spine, and hand. Now true about this: Where's the head at? Where's the head at? And this is why you're looked at as not human or not a man. Those in the elite Jewish circles look at the goy or those outside of their nation as animals, not human. You got foot, you got spine, you got hand. Where the head at? Oh, I know. I'm just showing y'all how they really look at you. And even and the crazy part is they are the Gentiles. It's not you. You got all your records, got all your history, and using your stuff directly against you. Boy, that's cold. That's cold. Foot, spine, hand, no head. So thus they got the right to look at the Goyim or the Gentiles as animals, not human. Not human. All right? Goy, rarely shortened goy, apparently from the same root as H1465 in the sense of massing a foreign nation, hence a Gentile, also figuratively a troop, look at this, of animals. And that's why they look at you as animals. That's why. Because when you put the foot, spine, and hand together, you're like, what they at? Oh, they don't even have the divine intellect. They look at you like, look, you're shiftless, you're feeble. You have no intelligence. And they are not Israel, you are. That's why it's important to come back into this, all right? But that's the reason on a higher level they look at us, specifically us. Specifically us, and I'm talking about the quote-unquote black man and black woman. You looked at as an animal by the Jewish elite. You looked at as an animal. You got a foot, show them how to run, don't you? You got a spine, you got to stand up straight. You got hands, you're always taking and stealing, but you have no head, no divine intelligence. You have no direction. You have no vision. Without a vision, the people perish, right? That's why they look at you like that. All right, so let's get back. Let's get back to it. And they're using all your history. They're using all your history and all your records and everything, all your mystical texts, everything, using everything against you. Now you can understand why the Most High told you don't learn their ways. Because guess what they did? You learned their ways, and then they learned yours. And they use your knowledge and your power to rule over you. Oh, wait. Now look at this. Hear ye the word which the Most High speaketh unto you, O house of Israel. Thus saith the Most High, learn not the way of the heathen, okay, the other nations, and be not dismayed at the signs of heaven, for the heathen are dismayed at them. All right. Now we all know the heavens line up, and the heavens were created in the beginning to give you signs and signals about what times and what events are coming on the earth. Absolutely. But the heathens have made up all type of things, or have become what's called superstitious, based off the signs of the heavens or how the heavens align, the zodiacs, and you understand. They become what's called superstitious. We don't get superstitious. There's no reason for us to be dismayed or afraid of anything that's coming on the earth. You understand? Because we align ourselves with the creator of heaven and earth. We should know what's coming on the earth before them. All right? For the heathen are dismayed at them. Now look at this. For the customs, the traditions of the people are vain. Look at this. Look at this. Look what they call them, the traditions.
Strong's H, 1892. Hevel. Hevel.
So it's saying that the customs that we've been doing, that we've learned from the heathen, from the oppressors, from the other nations, are vain. They're vanity. All right, Christmas is one of them. Look at this. Vanity, vain, altogether, vapor, breath, vapor, vanity, or vainly. Now look at this right here. It's from 1891, and guess what it means, y'all? Emptiness. Emptiness. Meaning no matter how much you do this, you'll never be satisfied. It's like that with most of our carnal desires that we achieve. That's why Solomon said it's all vanity. It's all vanity. Your mission is to unite or to become one with your creator. That's what you were born for. Anything outside of that is going to be vain to you. Eventually, you're going to be empty. What you talking about? What you talking about? Sex? That becomes vain. You feel empty after so long. What you talking about? Food? What else you talking about? Shelter? Once you achieve these things, then there's a sense of emptiness there. Vanity. That's what Solomon was saying. I did everything. Everything I wanted, I fulfilled every carnal desire I wanted, and I still felt empty. You know why? Because what's lying in you, there's an innate desire lying within you. It's a spiritual desire for you to walk the perfect path and to ascend and to become one with your maker. That's your job. That you were created to become one, united with your creator. You understand? No matter what carnal desire you fulfill, you're gonna be empty. They all in Hollywood empty right now because it's vanity. Once you get it, you ain't gonna be satisfied. Now what's next? Emptiness or vanity, figuratively, something transitory and unsatisfactory. It's temporary. Often used as an adverb, altogether vain, vanity. So the Most High is telling Israel this: you're wasting your time doing the customs of the heathen. The traditions of the heathen that you have learned, y'all, are vain. They're empty. They're worthless. They'll never fulfill you. How did you think about back when we was children? You dig, and Christmas come around, and you got your gifts and all that. And y'all, you'll look up by the end of the day, it's wrapper paper everywhere, and this little gift you got all thrown over in the corner behind the couch. Even the children know it's vanity. They know it's vain. Eventually, your baby gonna run up to you and feel empty. I'm bored. What you mean you bought you that hoverboard for Christmas? Santa just bought you that hoverboard. Because even the children, because they don't have a filter. They gonna tell you when they bored. And all they telling you is this: I feel empty. When it says vanity, y'all, means emptiness. You'll never be fulfilled with it. After the sex, after the food, after the shelter, then comes what? Wealth. You think a lot of money is going to fulfill you? You better ask everybody in Hollywood. Think again. Once you get so much money, you're going to feel empty. What's after that? Power? That don't satisfy you either. The ability to control the sex, the food, the shelter, the ability to control the wealth, power, even political power. Still empty. And you got the control over these very desires that you said you wanted. Work so hard to get them, but why do you feel empty though? Why do you feel vain though? You know why? Because you were created to unite with your creator, to become one with him. And unless that's fulfilled, no matter what you do in life, there's always going to be a sense of feeling unsatisfied or empty, no matter what you do. It don't even matter. On a metaphysical level, the desire to connect with your creator on a metaphysical level, I ain't talking about the physical level, on a metaphysical or spiritual level, is Israel, YHWH'S. Yahshua is upright or straight, El is God, who has a direct connection to the creator of heaven and earth. That spiritual desire to unite with your creator is that Israel's spirit in you. All the carnal desires represent the nations of the earth. Why you think the Messiah say, think not what you're going to eat and drink and what you're going to wear, for all these things who the Gentiles seek after. Because these carnal desires represent, spiritually speaking, the nations. Spiritually speaking, you yearning to unite with the creator of heaven and earth, represent Israel. And then after you get power, what is it? Knowledge? That's only going to take you so far too. The knowledge of how things, move in the heavens and the earth. Solomon got that too. Still was vanity to him. He said, why was I the more wise than the fool? Wise man died just like the fool. Think about it. At the basic core of all your desires, you're going to wind up feeling empty and unsatisfied at some point. At some point. It don't matter, y'all. Sex, food, shelter, wealth, power, knowledge. Don't even matter. Once you achieve it, you're still going to be unsatisfied. That means it's vanity. So for the customs of the people, back at it. Jeremiah 10:3. For the customs of the people are vain, empty. Now look at this. For one cuts a tree out of the forest. Like in our day, we used to get real Christmas trees. Not those makeshift trees you get from Wally World. I'm talking about a real one. You understand? You have to put water at the bottom of the little tree stand. For one cutteth a tree out of the forest, the work of the hands of the workmen with the axe. Ain't that true? Now look at this, verse 4. They deck it with silver and with gold. So this very tree that you cut down and bring into your house gets decked with all type of decorations. Correct? They deck it with silver and with gold. They fasten it with nails and with hammers that it move not. We usually have to balance ours out with like a weight or something. 25-pound weight, you dig? Screw it down in the tree stand and pour water in the tree stand so it wouldn't catch on fire and all that. But what Jeremiah is describing is a custom that is empty or vain that you were told not to learn. Your creator told you not to learn it. That belongs to the other nations. The documentary we just watched proved it. The documentary we just watched proved that it is vanity, that it's worthless, y'all, that it's empty. It's going to get you nowhere. If that's the case, you don't even trip off. I'm talking about y'all days, the day after Christmas, that feeling gone. And here comes the new year. Okay, new year. 10 days in the winter is a new year. Like you really don't understand the vibration that you're operating under and like who you actually worshiping. When you realize what you've been doing has been given by the other nations who you were told not to learn from, then you'll realize that what you've been doing has not been, or what you've been doing has not been in worship or in homage to the creator of heaven and earth. It hasn't. All right, verse 5. They are upright as the palm tree, but speak not. Correct? They must needs to be born. Born means carry. They must need to be carried. That's correct. We usually have to take it off the top of the car and you understand? And chug that joker inside the house because they cannot go, meaning they can't move themselves. Be not afraid of them, for they cannot do evil. Neither also is it in them to do good, right? Because there's no life in it. There's no life in it. There's no life in it. And here goes Jeremiah, verse 6. For as much as there is none like unto thee, O Yah, Most High, you are great, and your name is great in might. So Jeremiah understood what the custom of the heathens and what they were doing. Y'all, they was doing this in Jeremiah day, which is 600 years before Christ came. You understand? And ain't no telling how long they was doing it before then. And that very custom our people practice to this very day, and everybody in this chat was raised doing it. But we can boldly say right now, this has nothing to do. This has nothing to do with the God of the Bible. And I know it's all, but I do it because, look, I understand. You act like as if I wasn't raised doing it. I know why you do it. I know the breakdowns. I know why you figure you got the right to do it. And the only reason you're going so hard at it, y'all, because your spirit is just so wrapped up in it. Because of what your parents showed you. And y'all, all you gotta do is just tell the children, like, look, we messed up. We've been doing this. Look at this. The Bible saying something totally different. And your babies will respect you for that. And say, oh, okay, dang, I ain't even know. Hey, I ain't know it either. But now we know. So now that we know better, we got to do better. They'll respect you more for that. You don't want them babies to come and holler at you after they find out the truth and realize, dang, you've been lying to me the whole time. Did you know? And they looking you right in your eye. Did you know this? No, I thought you raised me not to lie. And you raised me not to lie. And you raised me to always tell the truth. Did you know this? That's a conversation you're not gonna want to have. All right. So if you see it, then show your children. What's the worst that can happen, y'all? They know the truth. Come on, now they need the truth out there. And you don't want to look like no hypocrite when them babies come asking their questions. All right. So that's Jeremiah 10. We're gonna drop that and we're gonna jump over to Proverbs. All right. Y'all write that down. I'm Jeremiah 10, 1 through 6, verses 3 through 4 is clearly talking about a Christmas tree. All right. It's been chopped down with the axe. It's been decked with silver and gold. That's easy work. You can act like that ain't what it is, but y'all, these customs been going on in the earth, and they have nothing to do. They have nothing to do with our Messiah, the Messiah of the Bible. Nothing. Nothing. Okay. Now look at this. Proverbs chapter 3. All right. No, the Messiah and them was not handing out gifts on Christmas or during the winter solstice. We're not handing gifts to each other on their birthdays. All these things you learn. You know, we celebrate life. All praises. Thank the Most High. But, you know, we don't be into all that. Put a cone on their head, turn out the lights and blow out candles and make a win. No, we don't do none of that. You get all that from heathens. Right? Who act like whose vibration is that of animals. All right. Proverbs 3 and 31. Envy thou. Envy thou. Thou's Old English mean you. Envy you. Or don't you envy the oppressor and choose none of his ways. Christmas is a way of the Most High God, or is it a way of the oppressor? Christmas has to do with the Messiah, the Christ, or does it have to do with the oppressor? Simple question. It's a simple question. And once you identify that, then you can say, oh, okay, I'm not supposed to be doing that. Because that's the ways of man. It's not the ways of the Most High. Envy thou not the oppressor and choose none, zero of his ways. Right? It's about being a revolutionary. Then the quickest way to get the enemy to fall is to stop doing what he's doing. Stop doing what your enemy is doing. Stop trying to fit in. Envy thou not the oppressor and choose none of his ways. Verse 32. For the forward, those who choose the oppressor way, you're called forward. Forward in the eyes of the Most High. For the forward is abomination. It's abomination to the Most High. Abomination, y'all, means disgusting. Look at this. Look at this. Look at this.
Strong's H 8441. To'eva. To'eva.
To'eva. Look at this. Say, if you choosing your oppressor's ways, you are disgusting. You an abomination to the Almighty. You see that? Now, there ain't a soul on planet Earth that'll say, I wouldn't mind being disgusting to God. No, you don't want to be disgusting. You don't want to be unclean or abominable in the eyes of the Almighty. A disgusting thing, abomination, abominable in a ritual sense of unclean food, idols, and mixed marriages, an ethical sense of wickedness, etc. Y'all see this? Y'all see this? For somebody to choose the ways of the oppressor in the eyes of the Most High, you are disgusting to him. You are his enemy. You are unclean. Look at that. And you know you don't like, look, and you know good and well you don't like nothing that's unclean. As much as y'all clean y'all houses, and come on now, you know better. You know better. For the forward is abomination to the Most High, but his secret is with the righteous. See that? The forward are those who choose the ways of the oppressor or the heathen. The very people the Most High say do not learn their ways. Their customs are empty and vain. They cutting trees down. They're decking it with silver and gold. It got to be carried. It can't speak. None is like unto you, Most High. And let that be in your mind. All right. If y'all get some understanding, go ahead and give us a Yahoo up in the chat. Give us a Yahoo up in the chat. Next scripture. I got a book that was written in the 1800s. We're gonna read through as well, y'all. It's about Christmas. It's about all the feast days that the church hold on to. All right. Now look at this. All right. It's Deuteronomy 7. All right. All right. Deuteronomy 7. Then we're going to get into what's called the renewed covenant or the New Testament. The Brit HaKadosh. We're going to get into that too. And we're going to see Messiah himself. How he rocked. He wasn't with the traditions of man. He wasn't even with the traditions of his own people. You know what I mean? So he definitely would have been with no traditions of no Gentiles or no. He definitely would have been pulling up his garment and going on the Easter egg hunt. Talking about bunnies laying eggs. Bunnies don't lay eggs. Stop that. Stop it. Stop it. It's time to be, men in understanding. Children in malice, but men in understanding. That's one thing Paul said that I agree with. That makes sense to me. You got to be mature when it comes to understanding. You understand? Should none of y'all be grown around her looking like Dumb and Dumber? Grown heathens, retarded. Run around with an adult pepper on and a binky in your mouth, wearing a onesie. But that's how you look when it comes to the understanding, still holding on to things that are fairy tales, y'all. That's a fairy tale. Be men in understanding. Be mature. Deal with divine intelligence. I know it's hard for people to accept, but it's just, we got to shoot straight and tell you what it is. Our Messiah had nothing to do with none of this. And most of our people claim they follow him, but when you get down to the nuts and bolts of it, no. I mean, like, y'all, even amongst the conscious Israelites, you already know that the line been drawn. The divide is there. So if the divide is there within conscious Israel, if you outside of Israel, oh my, good night. Good night. Run around here with, children understanding. And the whole time telling your children, don't lie to me. Always speak the truth. Don't lie. And the whole time you lying. Nah, that's hypocritical. And trust me, you're going to have that convo one day. If you're new to the channel and you listening, your best bet is to go back over these scriptures with your children and say, look, what y'all think about that? I never saw that. It looks like we've been doing some things wrong. And y'all, that don't mean you can always go buy your children stuff. Just stop uniting and aligning yourself with who the Most High calls heathens or the oppressor. Stop doing it. All right, Deuteronomy 7:1. When the Most High your God, when Yah thy Elohim shall bring thee into the land, whither you go to possess it, and have cast out many nations, many heathens. And these are dark-skinned nations right here, y'all. So just because you got melanin on your dark don't mean you're called or chosen by the Almighty. All right, this is a spiritual thing we're talking about here. And have cast out many heathens, many nations before thee, the Hittites and the Girgashites and the Amorites and the Canaanites and the Perizzites and the Hivites and the Jebusites, 7 nations greater and mightier than you. And when the Most High your God shall deliver them before you, you shall smite them and utterly destroy them. Thou shalt make no covenant with them. Look at this, y'all. I don't tell y'all to go take your AR, your Dracos, and go kill no heathens tonight. Please don't. All right. But notice the part I'm zoning in on is don't stop making covenants with them. Stop being in agreement with them. That's what you're doing during this time. This is a covenant that's being made. Oh, get in the Christmas spirit. Get in the Christmas spirit. No, get in the Holy Spirit, the Spirit of the Most High. This is when we about to invade the promised land 3,500 years ago. Thou shalt make no covenant with them, nor show mercy unto them. Look at this, y'all. Neither shall you make marriages with them. Your daughter you shall not give unto his son, nor his daughter shall you take unto your son. You see that? So I'm a big time, I'm big time with that. Some brothers see it different. Some brothers decide to deal with, women of other nations. I don't. That's not me. I take this right here serious. All right. Especially my sons and daughters. No, we're not doing that. And this is why. Verse 4. For they would turn away your son from following me. And y'all, we've seen this happen. The black man, woman, and child, for the majority of us, are not following the God of the Bible. It's not happening. But the Most High prophesied through Moses what happened, y'all, has happened. For they will turn away your son from following me, that they may serve other gods. That's what you're doing. Christmas is to other gods, y'all. It ain't to the Messiah. So will the anger of the Most High be kindled against you and destroy you suddenly. And here we go, mad at the injustices that's happening amongst our people and with our people by the other nations. And we'll be like, no justice, no peace. But then turn right around and say, Happy Thanksgiving, Merry Christmas. Yeah, all that's a part of the same system of oppression. We'll be mad at them gunning us down in the streets and turn around and say, Happy 4th of July. It's all a part of the same system of oppression. Y'all, the whole system got to come down. You got to stop identifying yourself with the entire system. And I know it sounds radical. I know. You understand? But guess what? You'll be loved by the Most High, though. That's the point. I'd rather have the whole world mad at me. I'd rather be loved by the Most High and hated by everybody than loved by everybody and hated by the Almighty. I love y'all. I just don't love y'all that much. The love I got for y'all come up short when it comes to the Almighty. And look, that's with myself included. It's just a fact. All right. So yeah, this may be radical. This may be, challenging to some that's hearing. Right. But understand this, you'll be loved by the Almighty because you've taken such a big sacrifice. You saying, this ain't no gradual stop. The bus stops now. I'm getting off now. You see that? You be blessed beyond measure behind it. But, all right. Now jump down. Verse 6. Now he telling you what to do with them. But thus shall ye deal with them. Verse 5. You should destroy their altars and break down their images and cut down their groves. That's them trees. And burn their graven images with fire. See, the order he gave us when we went into the land of the heathens. He said, eradicate every form of worship that they have. We didn't even do it. We went in there and fumbled and start doing what they were doing. Verse 6. For thou art an holy. Holy means separate, y'all. Set apart. We don't do what the other nations do. Thou art an holy people unto the Most High your power. The Most High your power have chosen you. You're chosen. Selected, elected, called the elect. The Most High have chosen you to be a special people, a peculiar people unto himself. Look at this. Look at that. Above all people. Not equal to and not beneath, y'all. I know that sounds radical because you believe everybody equal. Or you may believe you beneath a heathen. No, you're not. No, you're not. You got the Most High's DNA in you. Straight up. And once you know that, be unapologetic about it. Ain't nothing to apologize about. You are a divine son or daughter of the Most High. Act like it. Don't become an abomination to him. Above all people that are upon the face of the earth. Verse 7. The Most High did not set his love upon you nor choose you because you were more in number than any people. It wasn't about numbers. It wasn't even about numbers. For ye were the fewest of all people. The fewest. And today is crazy because they call you the minority today. The fewest of all people. But because the Most High loved you, look at this. And because he would keep the oath which he had sworn unto your ancestors, your fathers. Have the Most High brought you out with a mighty hand and redeemed you out of the house of bondmen, out of slavery, from the hand of Pharaoh, king of Egypt. Look at that. Know therefore that the Most High, your power, your God, he is God, the faithful God, which keepeth covenant and mercy with them that love him and keep his commandments. Look at this, y'all. To 1,000 generations. To 1,000 generations. Everybody listening should feel special and close to the Almighty behind that. Because he never fumbled on his part of the deal. Never fumbled. All you gotta do is come back. All you gotta do is come back. Right? During the time that they doing their Christmas, y'all, we just came out of dedication. So it ain't like we don't be festive and all that. It ain't like we don't enjoy ourselves. We just don't do what the enemy or the oppressor or the animals are doing. Don't do that. You see that? We don't do what the Goyim are doing. All right. Verse 10. This is what the Most High does. And he repayeth them that hate him to their face, to destroy them. He would not be slack to him that hateth him. He will repay him to his face. All right. But if you are choosing the ways of the oppressor, then you are an abomination to him. And eventually some type of judgment has to come down. But that's love. Love. The Most High done corrected me. I had it, man. Look, you don't want the Most High to crack knuckles on you. You want more? Show it on. Now, when we jump down to verse 26, watch this. Now, remember, we just read about this tree, the so-called Christmas tree. All right. We just read about it, how they chop it down and, stand it up and fasten it with nails that it don't move, and they deck it with silver and gold. And he told you, don't learn their ways, is empty and vain. Then he told you, envy not, or don't be jealous of your oppressor, and stop choosing his ways, for the forward is an abomination. Now look at this, verse 26. After he told you you was a holy people and set apart, and he loved you, and stop doing, and stop doing what they are doing. Look at this, verse 26. Neither shall you bring an abomination into your house. Ooh-wee. What, a Christmas tree up in that house? Look at that. We just read where do not learn the ways of the heathen, for what they are doing is vanity, is worthless, is empty. They cutting trees out of forests. They fasten it with nails and they decking it with silver and gold. You do that to this day with a Christmas tree. We went over to Proverbs 3rd chapter, verse 30, verse 31 and 32. The Most High said, envy not your oppressor, choose none of his ways, for the forward, those who choose the oppressor ways, is an abomination to the Most High. We go over here to Deuteronomy 7. He tell you you are a holy people. He chose you. He loved you. Don't be giving your sons to their daughters and your daughters to their daughters to your sons. You understand? Don't make covenants with them. And we get down to this verse 26, and he straight tell you, neither shall you bring an abomination into your house. Then what we've been talking about this whole time then. Neither shall you bring an abomination into your house, lest you be a cursed thing like it. For thou shalt utterly detest it, and you shall utterly abhor it, for it is a cursed thing. Something that belongs to another God, or rituals to another God that's outside of the worship that the Most High prescribes in the scripture, y'all, is an abomination. It falls under the classification of an idol or a devil. And you will become cursed like it, bringing that into your house. You see that? That's simple. That's simple. All right? So if y'all get some understanding so far, give me a 3 up in the chat. Y'all know I ain't trying to lose nobody. Ain't trying to lose nobody. Bless up, bless up, bless up. Now let's go over to the New Testament. Let's get into what's called the New Testament. I really don't like that word, but you know, that's what it's called. All right. Let's get over to the New Testament. Let's read a little taste. Yeah, I feel you, Shim, you here. I don't even want the food. You want some food? No, I don't want the food either. No, I'm good, man. Because we read later on about eating food offered to idols. You understand? If it was made in the Christmas spirit, I don't want it. Nah, I'm cool. I'm cool. All right, Matthew 15. All right. Your Bibles, this should be red letter. That means the Messiah himself is talking. The Messiah himself is talking. Now, y'all write these things down. Y'all write these things down. You know what I mean? It's just, look, I love you enough to go over it with you. All right? Matter of fact, one of my loved ones just texting me right now. Want to have a Bible study. That's solid. No doubt. You already know it. You already know I got you. All right? No doubt. Let's get it. You already know I got you. That's what's up. All praise. All praise. All right. But look at this. Matthew 15, 7 and 9. We established that this is not given by the Almighty. We already established it. Y'all, the heathen told on themselves. The video showed it. Now we in the Bible going through. We went to the Catholic Encyclopedia. What did that say? Catholic Encyclopedia straight told you, like, no, Christmas was not even observed by the earliest church. I mean, it's something added. It's something that man decided to add into. You see that? Matthew 15 and 7. Now, this is Mashiach. All right. And he talking to the elders of his people about their customs that they develop amongst themselves. He ain't even talking to them about pagan customs, which is worse. You did? Now look at it. Matthew 15 and 7. Ye hypocrites. So he's calling them hypocrites. You understand? Meaning what you talk, you're not doing you're not practicing what you preach. You're a hypocrite. Ye hypocrites. Well did Isaiah or Isaiah prophesy of you, saying, this people draws near unto me with their mouth and honor me with their lips, but their heart is far from me. And that's the problem with most of our people today, y'all. It's just lip service. You know, I love the Lord. I love Jesus. I love the Lord. I love Christ. But he say, look, this people honor me with their lips, draw near unto me with their mouth. It's just lip service. And honor me with their lips, but their heart, their mind is far from me. Their mind is alienated. Right? Look at verse 9. Look at verse 9. But in vain they do worship me. Look at that word vain again. But in vain they do worship me, teaching for doctrines the commandments of men. Ooh, wait, y'all hear this? Said this vain worship. Is Christmas a commandment of the Most High, or is it a commandment of man? That's all you gotta do is ask yourself that. All right. I see that. All you gotta do is ask yourself this. Is Christmas a commandment of the Most High, or is it a commandment of man? Once you got your answer, then you'll be able to understand this verse. You dare not say it's a commandment of God or Yah or the Most High, because somebody gonna say, oh, show that to me. Show God command. And if it ain't ordained by the Most High God, or the men that he delivered in certain parts of our history, because you know certain parts of our history like dedication and like Purim, you know, that came on later in our history, and the Most High showed he was with us, so then we do our own feast. So again, is it a commandment of the Most High or those he used to deliver our people, or is it a commandment of men? And if it's a commandment of men, the Messiah, who most of our people say they worship and follow, just say that's vain. But in vain they do worship me, teaching for doctrines the commandments of men. He quoted the book of Isaiah. It's just lip service today, y'all. That's all it is. It's lip service. You claim you love him. If you love me, he says, keep my commandments. Going back. I'll show you. We'll go to the book of John. John chapter 14. The basics, y'all. All right, John chapter 14. All right. Hey, RL, they took that deal down, man. Copyright, something they talking about. Copyright violation or something. They took down the Nazarene edition part 51, bro. It's crazy. We'll just have to do it again without any videos or something, you know. They be hating on that. Yeah, they hating, bro. So John 14 and 15. Because for most of our people that claim they love me, say, well, if you love me, keep my commandments. If you love me, keep my commandments. That's simple. So then we ask you, what are the Most High's commandments? And the majority of our people can't even tell you. They have no idea what his commandments are. None. They may be able to write off 2 or 3 of them, but for the most part, they don't even know. Let's go to John 15. Keep my commandments. You see? Christmas is not a commandment of the Almighty, y'all. You gotta get yourself together. All right. John 15. Book of John 15 and 10. If you keep my commandments, you shall abide in my love. So the love of the Most High comes with keeping the commandments of the Most High. You heard it? So I love the Most High. Then that means you're a guardian of his commandments. Do you keep his commandments? Oh, yeah, I do. What is that Christmas tree over there? Why are you celebrating Christmas? Why are you going to Easter egg hunts? Why is New Year's 10 days into the winter in homage to Janus, the Roman goddess, and not in the springtime like the Bible says it is? See, worship is act. If you serve him, if you love him, if you follow him, well, your actions should show it. And if you didn't know, you just didn't know, you know. But now that you know, it's time to do better. You feel me? If you keep my commandments, you shall abide in my love, even as I have kept my Father's commandments and abide in his love. You see? So the love of the Most High, the love of the Son of the Most High is conditional upon you keeping the commandments. All right? All right, John 15 and 14. You are my friends if you do whatsoever I command you. All right. And there's many more. There's many more, but it's the keeping of the commandments, y'all. All right, let's go over to 1 John. Show you some more. Show you some more. All right, New Testament still. All right. 1 John chapter 2. First John chapter 2, I'm going to start at verse 3. I don't know what these Russians doing coming up in here. It's all Russians and Germans that be posting on the channel now. That's crazy. Now we get them out of there. All right, 1 John 2 and 3. Look at this. And hereby we do know that we know him if we keep his commandments. Look at that. Keeping the commandments of the Most High and of his Son, the Messiah, means you love him and that you know him. All right? Many of our people claiming they love him and know him, but you know you're doing things that's not commanded, that's not in the book, actually. And that's what I was telling one of my loved ones the other day. I'm like, look, I found the answers in the book, right in the Bible. It's right in there. All right. He that saith, I know him or I love him and keep not his commandments is a liar. Is a liar. Y'all see this? The Bible calling us liars. If you say you know him, but you don't keep the commands, according to the Bible, you're lying. You are a liar. Look at that. That's New Testament. He that saith, I know him and keepeth not his commandments is a liar, and the truth is not in him. Verse 5. But whoso keepeth his word in him, verily is the love of the Most High perfected. Hereby know we that we are in him. You see, you got to keep the commands. You got to keep his word. And through that, his love becomes perfected in you. You start out on the path of perfection. Verse 6. He that saith he abideth in him ought himself also to walk even as he walked. You're supposed to walk as Messiah walked. Well, how did he walk? Was he into Christmas caroling? Huh? Was he into Easter eggs and bunnies? Easter egg hunts, jelly beans, Easter speeches, powder blue suits, greasy foreheads, penny loafers? Was he into any of this stuff that we've been raised doing or that we raise our children doing? And y'all, I ain't talking religious. This ain't no religion. We talking about it. You understand? These are the commands of the Almighty. Right? And y'all, this entry level. You know what I mean? This entry level stuff. It's the basics. Once you get up in Israel for a minute, then it's time to ascend even higher. And that's what we do on this channel. You know, dealing with the, you know, we don't deal with the bloody feast anymore. So, you know, we ain't chewing on animals. Any of that. You dig? We've chosen the path of life. But this is the entry level stuff right here. All right. Now look at this. 1 John 2 and 15, that says at the top right there, and again, we are in the New Testament. It says, do not love the world. Love not the world, neither the things that are in the world. Look at this, y'all. Christmas is definitely a way of the world. It's definitely a commandment or a tradition of man. It's worldly. It has nothing to do with the Most High, with the birth of his son, nothing. And you are commanded, a disciple of Mashiach said, love not the world, neither the things that are in the world. If any man love the world, look at this, y'all. The love of the Father is not in him. Now here you go, a good old American pie, homeborn slave. Love to do what the world is doing. Good night. That's crazy. Good night. And y'all, this ain't for you to go force your beliefs on anybody. It's just when it's time to have a conversation, let your people know. I'm always here to have a conversation. You understand? But they look deep down, they know you right. They're gonna be searching for the cool side of the pillow all night. They know what you're saying is true. It can't be denied. It's right in the very book that we all been reading. That say if you love the world, that goes into the ways of the world. They don't say earth, because earth is the Most High's creation. This is going into the world, the ways of the world, the ruling powers, the traditions of men. And that says love not the world. Don't be in love with it. Don't love it at all. neither the things that are in the world, such as Christmas and many other folly days. If any man love the world, the love of the Father is not in him. Good night, boy. A couple verses prior, it just called men liars who said they know him but don't keep his commandments. Said, nah, you a liar. The truth ain't in you. Then you jump down to verse 15 and say, nah, don't be loving the world, nor the things in it. If any man love it, well, that ain't the love of the Father. The love of the Father ain't in you. So whose love is in you then? Oh, I know you don't want to talk about that, but hold on. If the love of the Father ain't in you, then whose love is in you? Verse 16. Verse 16. I don't know where these Russians and Germans keep coming from in this chat, man. This is crazy. Look at this, verse 16. For all that is in the world, the lust of the flesh and the lust of the eyes, see all your desires, and the pride of life is not of the Father, but is of the world. Verse 17. And the world passes away. It's temporary. You gambling your whole, salvation on something that has to pass away. That's why you're never satisfied. Achieving your carnal goals, you're going to become empty once again. Once you achieve that, what's next? We need to have a yearning to become one, to ascend the path of perfection and to become one with our Maker. That should be your goal right there. That should be your desire. Straight up. Because everything else you achieve in life, you're going to feel empty at some point, unsatisfied. And the world passeth away, and the lust of the world passeth away thereof. But he that doeth the will of the Most High abideth forever. Look at that. You want to live forever? You want to enact that immortal consciousness? You want to live forever? You got to do the will of the Most High. That's why he say, if you love me, keep my commandments. But that's the whole duty of man. That's the entry level. Through keeping or by doing or by obeying what the Most High says to do, eventually you become united with him. You become one with him. That's why it says, he that doeth the will of the Most High lives or abides forever. Right? Right? Lives or abides forever. All right? If you understand so far, give us a 4 up in the chat. Ain't trying to lose nobody. Hallelujah. Bless up. Bless up. Bless up. All praises. Let's go to 1 John. 1 John. Stuff is all over here, y'all. 1 John. I'm gonna deal with some of Paul's letters too today. That certain points that Paul hit on that I actually agree with. All right. As he go into certain traditions and all that of men too, that's like, watch out, somebody will spoil you and rob you of that. All right. Everything the man said wasn't wrong. That's in my opinion. There are things he said that I did when he throw things out there that's in disagreement with the disciples and the apostles who are already set up. Then I got to question that. But when it come down to spiritual wickedness in high places, the warfare that you're really fighting, that's solid. You need to know that. You need to know about charity. You need to know about being a man in understanding, but a child in malice. You need to know about the fruits of the Spirit. You know about all that. You understand? You need to know that if this earthly body is dissolved, we have a tabernacle in the heavens, or a body, a spiritual body, or a heavenly body that you will receive. You need to know these things. You know about the resurrection and all that. You dig? So there are a few things, you dig, that he said concerning this topic that's spot on, if you ask me. Yeah, that makes sense. So we're going to go over some of that too, all right? 1 John chapter 5 and 1. We got foes up. All right, all praises. All praises. All right. Whosoever believes that Yahshua, Jesus, is the Messiah, is born of the Father. If you believe that Hamashiach is the Messiah, that means that you are a son or a daughter of the Most High, because it takes a spiritual discernment to even, you understand, confess that. Whosoever believe that Yahushua, that's his Hebrew name, Jesus is Mashiach, the Christ, is born of the Most High. And everyone that loves him, that begot, remember, Messiah was begotten by his Father, loves him also that is begotten of him. Meaning, if you love the Father, you love his Son. That makes sense. How you cool with me, but you ain't cool with my children? Nah, we ain't cool then. All right, verse 2. By this we know that we love the children of the Most High, when we love the Most High and keep his commandments. Y'all see that? The love of the Most High is conditional upon keeping of the commandments. One of his commandments is, do not learn the way of the heathen. Envy not your oppressor and choose none of his ways. Don't bring a cursed thing in your house. They chop it down with an axe. They fasten it with nails that it don't move, and they deck it with silver and gold. Is vanity. For the forward is an abomination to the Most High. That wasn't advice he gave you. That's a commandment. Don't do what the heathens are doing. You are holy people, right? By this we know that we love the children of the Most High, when we love the Most High and keep his commandments. For this is, look at this. For this is the love of the Most High, that we keep his commandments. That's his love. That's his love. Love ain't just, oh, I love you, woo, 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 woo. And we use that term too loosely. It's too loose. No, for this is the love of the Most High, that we keep his commandments. And his commandments are not grievous. Look at that. They not hard. Commands ain't hard to keep. Now look at this. Look at this. For those who may be feeling kind of weak and on the fence during this time of year, for whatsoever is born, whatsoever or whosoever is born of the Most High overcomes the world. I mean, you got a victory over that. You're out here feeling sad because, my mama biscuits. Or, just being around. Like, look, somebody got to take a stand and be like, look, I'm riding with the Almighty behind this. He calls it abomination. It's wicked. You know what I mean? And mama, I love eating your food. Matter of fact, we can eat any other day but today. Now, I don't want no leftovers, no nothing. Let's have a family dinner next week or something. You know what I mean? We can go shopping next month. We got a few extra dollars to go shopping. We'll wait to February 14th to show your woman love. Show her love every day. Take her out sometimes. Get bromantic around her. Not romantic, because we ain't Romans. Bromantic. You should be able to balance out, man. Unwind. Enjoy yourself. Take your woman out. You dig? We ain't telling you to be robots. I ain't telling you to be a robot. Stuck in the house, don't do nothing. We just don't align ourselves with them. That's it. It's that simple. Enjoy yourself. For whatsoever is born of the Most High overcome the world, and this is the victory that overcometh the world, even our faith. Bromans, you know what I mean? I'm gonna say broman. Bromans, Hebrew. Y'all see that? So you gotta be in the mindset of keeping the commandments. Keep the commandments, all right? Now, remember the Messiah said, you worship me in vain. You worship me teaching for doctrines, the commandments of men. Then we read that. Followers of tradition, the commandments of men. Oh, wait. Yeah, we're going to read this right here. Mark, the 7th chapter. Mark 7, we're going to read 6 through 9. Yeah, bromantic. We're not romantic, Roman. You know what I mean? We ain't no Greeks either. Hellenization, Kappas and Alphas, no. No, we the bros, the Hebrews, Israel. The Nazarene sect specifically. We like the Jedi order. You know what I mean? We like the Jedi Knights around this deal. Like we the the upper echelon of the whole thing. All right. No, praise the glory now to the Most High. Nobody telling you got to be a robot and you can't enjoy yourself. You can't eat, living food, and you can't, take your woman out and y'all enjoy one another, or you can't buy your children. You ain't saying that. Just stop doing what they are doing. Stop aligning yourself. Why, when they say go do it, you do it? Now, if it's attached to another God, then you got to, you got a decision to make. Nah, I can't do that. That's it. Just that simple. Just that simple. All right. Let's get back to it. All right. Mark 7. Mark 7:6. He answered and said unto them, well have Isaiah prophesied of you hypocrites, as it is written, this people honor me with their lips, but their heart is far from me. Howbeit, here we go again. Howbeit in vain do they worship me, teaching for doctrines the commandments of men. It's vain worship. It's vanity. It means nothing. It's emptiness. For laying aside the commandment of the Most High, you hold the tradition of men as the washing of pots and cups and many other such like things you do. He going to the traditions that his elders had going on at the time. And they felt they were ritualistically unclean if they didn't do certain things, right? Now look at this, verse 9. And he said unto them, full well, ye reject the commandment of the Most High, that you may keep your own tradition. Look at this right here. Look at that right there. You mean to tell me keeping the tradition of men is the rejection of the Most High's commandment? Y'all understand that? Give me a 7 up in the chat. Look at that. Full well you reject the commandment of the Most High, that you may keep your own tradition. Your own tradition. Wow. Keeping your own tradition is rejection of the Most High's command. You know why? Because he already has his, his appointments. He already has them. Especially y'all traditions made up by the oppressor. Come on now. Come on now. Christmas ain't nowhere around. Look, when we get into the book we're going to end it with, you're going to see. All right, we're going to drop that. We're going to drop that. Let's go over here to, let's go over to one of Paul's letters. Or a few things that I am in agreement with him on. You dig? And that's about these traditions. That's about these traditions. Even though at times he was establishing his own traditions. It's like, man, what is this dude? You dig? But this falls right in line with the actual topic that we had talked about. Okay. Colossians 2:6. Colossians 2:6. All right. As you have therefore received the Messiah, the Master, so walk ye in him as you received him. Walk in him. You see that? Well, he just said, if you love me, keep my commandments. You reject the commandment of God by keeping your own tradition. He said it's vanity. Now that you know that, walk in him. All right. Then we read what? That the friendship of the world, or if you love the world, that's not the love of the Most High. If you say you in him and you don't keep his commandments, you a liar. That's what the book calls you, not what MALAKIMAC is calling you. The book is saying that. Yeah, you're right, Jehu. Broken clock. Exactly. Right twice a day. Even a broken clock is right sometimes. No doubt, big dog. As you have therefore received Mashiach Yahushua, the Master, so walk ye in him, rooted and built up in him and established in the faith as you have been taught, abounding therein with thanksgiving. Y'all, it's not pilgrims and Indians. All right. Thanksgiving is more of a peace offering. All right, offered to the Almighty. Verse 8. Beware. Look at this, y'all. Beware, lest any man spoil you, any man rob you through philosophy and vain. There go that word vain again. And vain deceit. After the tradition of men. There go the traditions of man again. We've been reading vanity and we've been reading customs and traditions of men. After the tradition of men. After the rudiments or the elements of the world. That's what Christmas is. It's an element of the world. It's a tradition of man. It's deception. It's philosophy. And he's saying, watch out, because you'll get robbed of your salvation by adhering to that. After the rudiments of the world and not after the Messiah. Look at that. The traditions or the customs of the people or of man, y'all, is vanity, and through that you'll lose your salvation. Because the Messiah didn't, that wasn't his mission. The innocent prophet was not murdered so you can eat what you want and worship however you want. Innocent blood was shed. You see that? And that ain't the mission. His death is supposed to spark a revolution in your mind to continue in his footsteps, finish the job. It's a bit, look, his life and his testimony is supposed to spark radical change within you. It's supposed to. That you no longer live like a child anymore and understand it. All right? Oh, wait. Let's go into eating things. Now that we know it's abomination, let's get into eating things off of the idols. That's why, some of the people I knew in this thing used to, I still go over there on Christmas and eat. They just make my own food. No, you tripping. You tripping. That food was made in the Christmas spirit. Nah, you ain't supposed to be eating that at all. At all. Christmas has nothing to do with the Most High. It has everything to do with the gods of the heathens, which are idols. All right, which are idols. Now look at this. Now this is the Messiah's message to his bride. All right. Start at verse 12. This is to the assembly in Pergamum. All right. Look at this. If you're in your Bible, all these should be red letter. This is him speaking. You understand? I'm howling at the messengers over the assemblies, who the Bible called angel over the assembly. All right. And to the angel of the church in Pergamos write, these things saith he which hath the sharp sword with two edges. Yeah, if you don't think that's your sweet Jesus, you ain't read your Bible. Not my sweet Jesus. For one, Jesus ain't sweet. He's not Cupid. He's not a little heathen baby flying around with a huggy on. Your Messiah is a very, very serious power. You understand? The faithful and true witness who served his God, his power. You understand? I'm talking about without folding or fumbling, without sinning. And to tell you right there, he had a sharp sword with two edges. Hey, Latrey, ain't nothing you can do about your people. Like, if you stay over there, ain't really nothing you can do about that. But you ain't got to be in the spirit with them. You understand? You can be off to yourself, go in the room or something. Ain't nothing you can do if you staying under somebody else's house, though. Please don't go kick the tree over and burn it. Please don't. Do not do that. Do not do that, bruh. You know what I mean? But if that's what they doing, there's nothing you can do about that, because you stay until you get your own. You dig? But do not go out there and go crazy. All right. And to the angel of the church in Pergamos write, these things saith he which hath a sharp sword with two edges. I know thy works, and where you dwellest, even where Satan's seat is, and thou holdest fast my name, and hast not denied my faith. Look at that. Messiah is saying, I know who my faithful are. You ain't denying my faith. Satan's seat right amongst y'all, and you still going hard. And thou holdest my name and hast not denied my faith, even in those days wherein Antipas was my faithful martyr, who was slain among you, where Satan dwelleth. But I have a few things against thee. I got a few things against you. So he's saying, look, y'all doing right here, but I got something against you. And he's specifically talking to the leader over that assembly. I have a few things against you, because you have them that hold the doctrine of Balaam, who taught Balak to cast a stumbling block before the children of Israel, going back to the book of Numbers. Some witchcraft going on up in there. Huh? Look at this. To eat things sacrificed unto idols and to commit fornication. Y'all, that's a crime, right? Eating holiday food or food prepared in that spirit because you got weak in spirit because you want to go see your people and you folded and start eating the food. Y'all, that's food offered to idols. They just don't know it. It ain't offered to the Most High. For one, if it was, you wouldn't even be celebrating it. Christmas ain't of the Most High, it's of man. It has to do with pagan gods or idols. So that's food sacrificed or prepared for them. No, you can't eat that. Verse 15. So hast thou also them that hold the doctrine of the Nicolaitans, which thing I hate. Repent, or else I will come unto thee quickly and will fight against them with the sword of my mouth. That's the Messiah talking himself, y'all. It's the Messiah talking himself. See, by messing with his teachings and changing up his image, and you know, y'all, it's a lot of manipulation been going on for the past 2,000 years. That's why we got to be patient with our people. Like those that want to have a conversation, have it with them. But y'all, it's a lot on the line here. Most High talking about putting that sword on our people. Because I heard acting like these heathens. All right. Now look at this. We're going to jump down. We're going to jump down. All right. This is Thyatira. Look at this. Same thing. And unto the angel of the church in Thyatira, or to the leader of the assembly in Thyatira, right? These things saith the Son of the Most High, who have his eyes like unto a flame of fire, and his feet are like fine brass. Yes, the Messiah is a man of color, absolutely. And the other scriptures say, as if it burned in a furnace. Yes. I know thy works and charity and service and faith and your patience and your works, and the last to be more than the first. Notwithstanding, I have a few things against you. I have a few things against you, because you sufferest that woman Jezebel, which calls herself a prophetess, to teach and to seduce my servants, to commit fornication and to eat things sacrificed unto idols. Look at that. And I gave her space to repent of her fornication, and she repented not. Look at this. Behold, I will cast her into a bed, and them that commit adultery with her into great tribulation, except they repent of their deeds. And I will kill her children with death. Wow. And all the churches shall know that I am he which searcheth the reins and hearts, and I will give unto every one of you according to your words. Look at that there. Look at that there. So yeah, it's a serious thing. All right. And as we get deep into it, you're gonna see. You're gonna be like, well, hold on. Hold on. Something else going on around here. Something else going on around here. What I say, watch the new Matrix. Yeah, you already know I done watched it already. Absolutely. Absolutely. I'll be looking for the Deuels and everything, and I found them. Absolutely. All right, absolutely. All right, bang, bang, bang. All right, y'all getting some understanding so far. Give us a Yahoo up in the chat. And y'all, there's plenty more. There's plenty more. There's plenty more. You did. But I want to get into this book right here. I want to get into this. Bang, bang, bang. All right, let me stop sharing real quick. I want to get into this book that I've had in my possession for 15 years. This book was written back in the 1800s. Yeah, I've been watching, you know, some of the people don't like, you know, and I think that's because we be looking for it to be just as action-packed as the ones before it and all that. But if you know how to look at movies a certain way, man, I caught so many jewels out of that deal. I'm like, so, but you know, the consensus out there with majority of people is they don't like it. But I mean, everybody got their own opinions. Me, I liked it. I like the new Matrix movie. I actually do. And I got plenty of jewels out of it. Plenty of jewels. I'm looking at it through a different lens. Like, wow, that's wild. All right. But, you know, that's another story. I ain't have to go to the movies and watch it. I got HBO Max. So, threw it on HBO Max and watched it. I was like, yeah. Yeah, okay. That's right. Watch it with a spiritual eye. Let me show y'all this book that I've been reading out of. Been in my possession. All right. Been in my possession for close to 15 years now. Right. Written back in the 1800s. We're going to get into the Christmas. All right. Dang. I'm studying. You know, you got to make sure you study around there, man. Some of y'all haven't heard of this before. Some of y'all haven't heard about this before. I see what it's called. The two Babylons. Or the papal worship proved. Papal worship proved to be the worship of Nimrod and his wife. An extremely well-researched study by Reverend Alexander Hislop. Written in the 1800s. 225-page book. Yeah, you got that book right. Well, you already know where I'm going. He exposed all of it, y'all. The Easter, the Christmas, the deification of the child in Syria, Egypt, Greece, the death of the child, the Trinity and unity, the mother and child, and the original is wild. Feast of the Assumption, the Nativity of St. John, all of it. All of it. All of it. All right, if y'all don't got the two Babylons, I would suggest you order it. I've had it for well over 15 years. Very, very informational. Very, very, very informational. And it's wild. Heathens today who uphold the banner of Christianity tried to debunk this. And I'm like, what is y'all doing? How is you even trying to? But, you know, there's always opposition to what you believe. All right. It just come down to what resonates with your spirit, what makes sense. All right. All right. So we're going to go over here. All right. Again, the two Babylons or the papal worship proved to be the worship of Nimrod and his wife. An extremely well-researched study by the Reverend Alexander Hislop. That's right. He already so he about to get on Kindle right now. That's right. All right, so we're going to go down to Christmas. Another good one is The Child in the Syria. I used to read that back in the day. We're going to get right to Christmas. Right after Christmas, they got Easter too. Wait till y'all read about Easter. You're going to be like, good night. Let me see if I can post this in the chat. See if I can post this. Maybe it'll come up for y'all. Yeah, there it is. I don't know where these Russians keep coming from in there. These heathens are determined to stop what we doing. But you never will, heathen. All right, the two Babylons. All right, y'all, this is written back in the 1800s. 1800s, believe it or not. Ooh-wee. Ooh-wee, we got a problem here. We got a problem here. What did old Hislop understand that we ain't know back then? That we ain't know now. So let me go down to the Christmas part of it. Let me see if I can, there we go, move that out the way. All right, so we down on page 61, chapter 3, festivals. Again, The Two Babylons by Alexander Hislop. Y'all make sure y'all get that. Very, very informational. Very. I told y'all. Bringing out this information, boy, they want to hang you from the Gateway Arch. Why you got to ruin everything? Man, look, I'm just putting information out there. Either you accept it or you don't. You know, if you don't want to listen to it, just keep it moving. It's that easy. It's really that easy. It really is. All right. Two Babylons. Chapter 3, festivals. If Rome be indeed the Babylon of the apocalypse, and the Madonna enshrined in her sanctuaries, as supposed to be Mary, and the Madonna enshrined in her sanctuaries be the very queen of heaven, for the worshiping of whom the first anger of the Most High was provoked against the Jews in the days of Jeremiah. That y'all is Jeremiah, the 44th chapter. It is of the last consequence that the fact should be established beyond all possibility of doubt. For that being once established, everyone who trembles at the word of the Most High must shudder at the very thought of giving such a system either individually or nationally the least countenance or support. Something has been said already that goes far to prove the identity of the Roman and Babylonian systems. But at every step, the evidence becomes still more overwhelming. That which arises from comparing the different festivals is peculiarly so. How you say that? Peculiarly. Y'all forgive me. I ain't masters at the King's English. Look at this. Look at this here. Oh-wee. The festivals of Rome are innumerable, but 5 of the most may be signaled out for elucidation. Visualize Christmas Day, Lady Day. I think that's Mother's Day, if I'm mistaken. Christmas Day, Lady Day, Easter, the Nativity of St. John, and the Feast of the Assumption. Each and all of these can be proven to be Babylonian. Look at this. Look at this. You mean to tell me Christmas go back further than even white Germans? They go back to ancient Babylon, which was a very dark nation. Good night. That makes sense because Nimrod is the son of Cush in the Bible. Cush is Ethiopia. That man, this started with the pagan Africans. Well, you know it's Africans today. The Babylonians. Good night. That deal just said Easter, Christmas, Lady Day, which I believe is Mother's Day, the Nativity of St. John, and the Feast of the Assumption. Each and all of these can be proved to be Babylonian. And first, as to the festival in honor of the birth of Christ or Christmas. Here we go. Here we go. How come it that festival was connected with the 25th of December? There is not a word in the scriptures about the precise day of his birth or the time of the year he was born. What is recorded there implies that at what times, wherever his birth took place, could not have been on the 25th of December. At the time that the angel announced his birth to the shepherds of Bethlehem, they were feeding their flocks by night in the open fields. Now, no doubt the climate of Palestine is not so severe as the climate of this country. You know, I believe he was in Scotland somewhere. But even there, though the heat of the day be considerable, the cold of the night from December to February is very piercing. We're saying, like, it's impossible he was born on December the 25th. Why? Because shepherds were outside tending to their sheep. The sheep was out there grazing on grass. Now, that's not happening, y'all, in the wintertime. That's what Alexander Hislop is saying. And he said, even though their winters ain't as cold as up here in Scotland and Iceland, the climate in Palestine, the heat ain't no joke, but at nighttime, yeah. At nighttime, it's piercing. And it was not the custom for the shepherds of Judea to watch their flocks in the open fields later than about the end of October. Ooh-wee. It is in the last degree incredible, then, that the birth of Christ could have taken place at the end of December. There is great, unanimity among commentators on this point. Besides Barnes, Doddridge, Lightfoot, Joseph Scaliger Jennings, and his Jewish Antiquities, who are all of opinion that December 25th could not be the right time of our Master's nativity. Look at this. The celebrated Joseph Meade pronounces a very decisive opinion to the same effect. After a long and careful disquisition on the subject, among other arguments, he adduces the following. At the birth of Christ, every woman and child was to go to be taxed at the city whereto they belonged, whither some had long journeys, but the middle of winter was not fitting for such a business, especially for women with child and children to travel in. Therefore, the Messiah could not be born in the depth of winter. Again, at the time of the Messiah's birth, the shepherds lay abroad watching their flocks in the nighttime. But this was not likely to be in the middle of winter. And if any shall think the winter wind was not so extreme in these parts, let him remember the words of the Messiah in the gospel. Pray that your flight be not in the winter. If the winter was so bad a time to flee in, it seems no fit time for shepherds to lie in the fields in, and women and children to travel in. Indeed, it is admitted by the most learned and candid writers of all parties that the day of our Master's birth cannot be determined, and that within the Christian church, no such festival. Within the Christian church, no such festival as Christmas was ever heard of till the 3rd century. Do y'all hear this? Do y'all hear this? There was no such thing of Christmas in the body of Mashiach, y'all, up into the 3rd century. Huh? And that not till the 4th century was far advanced did it gain much observance. Y'all, we talking about the 200s and the 300s. And we all know what happened in the 300s, don't we? That's when they start doing the councils. They start holding all the ecumenical councils. Main council, the first one was the Council of Nicaea. And the Catholic Church held ecumenical councils from the 300s all the way up into the 1800s, y'all. 1,500 years of forming Christian doctrine and dogma. Now, one of the things that was, added to the body of Mashiach was this so-called festival called Christmas. Called Christmas. Look at this. There was no such thing, and that within the Christian church, no such festival as Christmas was ever heard of till the 3rd century. Huh? Y'all, we talking about 200 years after he died. And then 300 years when the 4th century was far advanced. Look at this. No. Did it gain much observance? Look at that. When the 4th century was advanced, meaning on in past the mid of the 4th century, did it gain much observance? How then did the Roman church fix on December the 25th as Christmas Day? Why thus, long before the 4th century and long before the Christian era itself, a festival was celebrated among the heathen? Look at this. Look at this. Hold on. Somebody gonna hang me. They want to hang me off the gateway arch for showing y'all this. How then did the Roman church fix on December the 25th as Christmas Day? Why thus, long before the 4th century, way before the 4th century, long before the Christian era, meaning y'all before Messiah was even born itself, a festival was held, celebrated among the heathen at that precise time of the year. In honor, trip off this, in honor of the birth of the son of the Babylonian queen of heaven. There it is. There it is. There it is right there. Yeah, you taking on the Babylonian Messiah. that's been refurbished and repackaged and brought out to you. Them bringing out jolly white Saint Nick and white Jesus and the nativity scenes and all that. Look, all that's a figment of some heathens' imagination. But they got it from the Babylonians, which was a black nation. Nimrod's wife / mother. Yeah, he had relations with his mama. He had a son named Tammuz. This is in honor of him. So what Lord do you claim you love? What Lord are you worshiping? Who are you following? That says, in honor of the birth of the son of the Babylonian queen of heaven. And it may fairly be presumed that in order to conciliate the heathen and to swell the number of the nominal adherents of Christianity, the same festival was adopted by the Roman Church, giving it only the name of Christ. This tendency on the part of Christians to meet paganism halfway was very early developed, and we find Tertullian, another church historian, even in his day, about the year of 230, 3rd century, bitterly lamenting the inconsistency of the disciples of Christ in this respect and contrasting it with the strict fidelity of the pagans to their own superstition. He say, look, back in the 3rd century, those who claimed they was following Mashiach was compromising. Elements of paganism and heathen worship were being added into the body of Mashiach. Light can't dwell with darkness, though. Remember that. Light can't dwell with darkness. That was not the mission to make you a pagan. That was not the mission so you can eat whatever you want to eat and worship how you want to worship. That was not his mission. It was to restore the one and true worship to the Father, to come and show the way. You understand? And that's why the leaders and elders of his nation, our nation, persecuted him, because what he was teaching was opposite of what they were teaching. He taught the Torah totally different because he was the only one anointed to do so. Now what we got running on automatic today, everybody's a Roman or everybody's a Greek. But in spirit and in blood, you understand, you actually are Israel. You're the chosen people of the Most High. Well, if that's who you are, if you're a son or a daughter of the divine, it's time to start acting like it. Look at this. By us, says he, who are strangers to Sabbaths and new moons and festivals, once acceptable to God, the Saturnalia, that's Christmas. Rome had their feast called the Saturnalia at this very time. The Saturnalia. Hold on. Y'all got to see this. Hold on. By us, says he, who are strangers to Sabbaths and new moons and festivals, once acceptable to the Most High, the Saturnalia, the Feast of January. Hold on. The Feast of January. What you talking about, fish and black-eyed peas? What you talking about, your New Year's dinner? Supposed to bring good luck, huh? The Saturnalia, the Feast of January, the Brumalia and Matronalia are now frequented. Gifts are carried to and fro. New Year's Day presents are made with din and sports. Ain't all the sports on? Ain't all the sports? Are all the college bowls and the playoffs about to start? Are made with din and sports and banquets. There go your feasting. Are celebrated with uproar. Oh, how much more faithful are the heathen to their religion, who take special care to adopt no solemnity from the Christians. Meaning the heathens don't even adopt our ways. You adopt theirs. And you were told not to learn their ways. You were told not to learn the ways of the heathen. And look at Tertullian in the 3rd century saying, wow, Look at this. Look at this. Y'all, this right here is what's going on right now. The banqueting, the sports, the uproars and the revelings. New Year's and Saturnalia, which is Christmas. And y'all remember this book we reading was written in the 1800s. Wow. Wow. Let's keep it moving. Yeah, somebody gonna be mad at this. Yeah, I love you anyway, though. Upright men tried to stem the tide, but in spite of all their efforts, the apostasy went on till the church, with the exception of a small remnant, was submerged under pagan superstition. Look at that. Look at that. And it's running on automatic today. Our people don't even know they're actually pagans. You become an abomination in the eyes of the Most High, acting like heathens. And you don't see the Messiah nor none of the disciples doing none of this. That should frighten everybody. Like, hold on, dang. Dang, that's crazy. They're not doing none of that. Like, where you seeing it at? Where you see the Messiah and the disciples doing what you doing? That Christmas was originally a pagan festival is beyond all doubt. The time of the year and the ceremonies with it is still celebrated prove its origin. In Egypt, the son of Isis, the Egyptian title for the Queen of Heaven, was born at this very time. Look at that. Yeah, Horus. Yeah, so when you got Shaka Utmost and Sonnet and you them telling you, nah, this is Horus Day. They not lying. They not lying to you. They're not lying to you at all. This is when he was celebrated. About the time of the winter solstice, which started a couple days ago, y'all, December the 21st. The very name by which Christmas is popularly known among ourselves, Yule Day. Not the Yule. Proves that once its pagan and Babylonian origin. Yule is the Chaldean name for an infant or little child. As the 25th of December was called by our pagan Anglo-Saxon ancestors. Y'all Anglo-Saxons. And I know it's Israelites out here trying to tell you that Anglo-Saxon means the angelic sons of Isaac. Stop it. Stop it. We're not Anglo-Saxons. We're not Anglo-Saxons. Nick wrote talking about he an Anglo-Saxon. No, we're not Anglo-Saxons. Alexander Hislop was saying that his ancestors are the pagan Anglo-Saxons. We Anglo-Saxon, man. Look, I'll let you claim it. I'm not no Anglo-Saxon. All right, and as the 25th of December was called by our pagan Anglo-Saxon ancestors, Yule Day or the Child's Day, and the night that preceded, Mother Night, Christmas Eve. Mother Night, Eve, the first mother, Eve. If y'all seeing what we reading so far, I mean, is this too hard of a read? If this is clear to you, give me a 9 up in the chat. Y'all know I ain't trying to lose nobody. Ain't that wild, though? Yule's Day or Christmas was preceded by Mother Night. Mother Night. You know what today is? Christmas Eve. Oh, okay. Long before they came in contact with Christianity. Look at this. So that means this has nothing to do with Mashiach. It's really that simple. Long before they came in contact with Christianity. That sufficiently proves its real character. Far and wide in the realms of paganism was this birthday observed. Far and wide. This festival has been commonly believed to have had only an astronomical character, referring simply to the completion of the sun's yearly course and the commencement of a new cycle. All right. He's like, no, it ain't just astronomy at play here. But there is indubitably evidence that the festival in question had a much higher reference than this, that it commemorated not merely the figurative birthday of the sun, S-U-N, and the renewal of its course, but the birthday of the grand deliverer among the Sabaeans of Arabia, who regarded the moon and not the sun as the visible symbol of the favorite object of their idolatry. The same period was observed as the birth festival. Thus, we read in Stanley's Sabaean philosophy, on the 24th of the 10th month, that is December, according to our reckoning, the Arabians celebrated the birthday of the Lord, that is the moon. So even the Arabs was getting down, but they honored the moon instead of the sun. All right. Yes, you Ishmaelites or you so-called Arabians, you dig, before Muhammad civilized you, all y'all was, dealing with 360 different gods and ideologies. And you're still dealing with one of them, but that's another story. All right. The Lord Moon was the great object of Arabian worship, and that Lord Moon, according to them, was born on the 24th of December, Christmas Eve, which clearly shows that the birth which they celebrated had no necessary connection with the course of the sun. It's worthy of special note, too, that if Christmas Day among the ancient Saxons of this island was observed to celebrate the birth of any lord of the host of heaven, the case must have been precisely the same here as it was in Arabia. The Saxons, as is well known, regarded the sun as a female divinity and the moon as male. Okay. We cooking now. We cooking. It must have been the birthday of the Lord Moon, therefore, and not of the sun, that was celebrated by them on the 25th of December. Even as the birthday of the same Lord Moon was observed by the Arabians on the 24th of December, the name of the Lord Moon in the east seems to have been Mini. For this appears the most natural interpretation of the divine statement in Isaiah's 65th chapter, verse 11. But you are they that forsake my holy mountain, that prepare a temple for Gad, and that furnish the drink offerings unto Mini. There is reason to believe that Gad refers to the sun god, and that Mini in like manner designates the moon divinity. Mini or Manai signifies the numberer, and it is by the changes of the moon that the months are numbered. Psalms 104 and 19. All right. He appointed, hold on, y'all. Hold on. He appointed the moon for seasons. The sun knoweth the time of his going down. The name of the man of the moon, or the god who presided over that luminary among the Saxons, was Maine. As Maine, shout out to my Memphis brothers. That's all they say is Maine. Was Maine, as given in the Edda and Mani and in Valuspa. That it was the birth that it was the birth of the Lord Moon that was celebrated among our ancestors at Christmas. We have remarkable evidence in the name that is still given in the lowlands of Scotland to the feast on the last day of the year, which seems to be remnant of the old birth festivals for the cakes, then made or called nerd cakes or birth cakes. That name is HEGMAN. Now, HEGMAN in Chaldee signifies the feast of the numberer. The feast of the numberer. In other words, the festival of Deus Lunis, or of the man of the moon, to show the connection between country and the inveterate endurance of old customs. It is worthy of remark that Jerome, who lived 1600 years ago, y'all, that Jerome, commenting on the very words of Isaiah already quoted about spreading the table for Gad and pouring out a drink offering to Mene, observes that it was the custom so late as his time in the 4th century in all cities, especially in Egypt and at Alexandria, to set tables. Look, listen to this. Listen to this. Because a lot of us grew up putting out milk and cookies. Putting out milk and cookies for Santa Claus. Santa Claus. I don't know where all these Russians is coming from. and why y'all so obsessed. Now listen to this. It says right here, all right, in all cities, especially in Egypt and in Alexandria, set tables and furnished them with various luxurious articles of food and with goblets containing a mixture of new wine on the last day of the month and the year, and that the people drew omens from them in respect of the fruitfulness of the year. Yeah, that's where they get the whole milk and cookies from. You would set out milk and cookies for so-called Santa Claus, and then you parents, by the time a child get up and the milk and cookies gone, they would be thinking that Santa Claus came down the chimney and ate the cookies and drank the milk. Wow. Wow. Look at this. Yeah, Trey, that don't mean everything we read is, just take it with a grain of salt, bro. The Egyptian year began at a different time from ours, but this is a near impossible, only substituting whiskey for wine. The way in which HICKMAN is still observed on the last day of the last month of our year in Scotland, I do not know that any omens are drawn from anything that takes place at that time, but everybody in the south of Scotland is personally cognizant of the fact that on HICKMAN, or the evening before New Year's Day, New Year's Eve, among those who observe old customs, a table is spread, and that while buns and other dainties are provided by those who can afford them, oat cakes and cheese are brought forth. Oat cakes and cheese are brought forth among those who never see oat cakes, but on this occasion, and that strong drink formed an essential article of provision. Look at this. Look at this. Even where the sun was favored object of worship, as in Babylon itself and elsewhere, at this festival, he was worshipped not merely as the orb of the day, but as God incarnate. Do y'all see this? Really? Wow. God incarnate. It was an essential principle of the Babylonian system that the sun, or Baal, was the one only God. When therefore Tammuz was worshipped as God incarnate, y'all, this is Christmas. That implied also that he was an incarnation of the sun, S-U-N, in the Hindu mythology, which is admitted to be essentially Babylonian. This comes out very distinctly. There, Surya, or the sun, is represented as being incarnate and born for the purpose of subduing the enemies of the gods, who without such a birth could not have been subdued. Wow, really, really. Let's keep going. Let's keep going. It was no mere astronomic festival then that the pagans celebrated at the winter solstice. That festival at Rome was called the Feast of Saturn. That's what Christmas is, y'all. It's Saturnalia. The Feast of Saturn. And the mode in which it was celebrated there showed whence it had been derived. The feast, as regulated by Caligula, who was a Caesar, lasted 5 days. Loose reins were given to drunkenness, really, and revelry. Slaves had a temporary emancipation and used all manner of freedoms with their masters. This was precisely the way in which, according to Berosus, the drunken festival of the month of Tebeth, answering to our December, in other words, the festival of Bacchus, was celebrated in Babylon. It was the custom, says he, during the 5 days it lasted, for masters to be in subjection to their servants, and one of them ruled the house, clothed in a purple garment like a king. This purple robe servant was called Zogames. The man of sport and wantonness answered exactly to the Lord of misrule that in the dark ages was chosen in all popish countries to head the revels of what? Christmas. Christmas. The wasp-selling bowl of Christmas had its precise counterpart in the drunken festival of Babylon. and many of the other observances still kept up among ourselves at Christmas came from the very same quarter. The candles in some parts of England lighted on Christmas Eve and used so long as the festive season lasts. Look at the candles. Look at this. And used as long as the festive season lasts, were equally lighted by the pagans on the eve of the festival of the Babylonian god. Look at that. Look at that. You're doing the same rituals and the customs, y'all. Check about this. On the same exact days. And you know it ain't got nothing to do with the Most High because it would be somewhere in his records. It's Babylonian. It's pagan. It's heathen. You were told not to learn it. To do honor to him, for it was one of the distinguishing peculiarities of his worship to have lighted wax candles on his altars. The Christmas tree, now so common among us, was equally common in pagan Rome and pagan Egypt. Look at that. Look at that. In Egypt, the tree was the palm tree. Ah, it's upright like the palm tree. Jeremiah said it. In Rome, it was the fir. The palm tree denoting the pagan Messiah as Baal Tamar. The fir referring to him as Baal Berith, the mother of Adonis, the sun god and great mediatorial divinity, was mystically said to have been changed into a tree, and when in that state to have brought forth her divine son. Believe it or not, that tree in that house is an idol. It's a god. It's also an altar. It may not be to you, but that don't change the origin of what was going on back in the heathen nations. Y'all, and this way before Messiah was even born. Oh, wait. Uh-oh, hold on. Hold on. You still cooking. You still cooking. If the mother was a tree, the son must have been recognized as the man branch, as the man the branch. And this entirely accounts for the putting of the Yule log into the fire on Christmas Eve. Yule. That nut soldier boy used to jump around talking about some Yule. Look at that. And the appearance of the Christmas tree the next morning as Zoroaster, the seed of the woman, which name also signified Ignigena, or born of the fire. He has to enter the fire on Mother Night, Christmas Eve, that he may be born the next day out of it as the branch of God, or the tree that brings all divine gifts to men. But why, it may be asked, does he enter the fire under the symbol of a log? To understand this, it must be remembered that the divine child born at the winter solstice was born as a new incarnation of the great God, after that God had been cut in pieces on purpose to revenge his death upon his murderers. Really? Really? Hold on. Hold on. Now, the great God cut off in the midst of his power and glory was symbolized as a huge tree. The tree is an idol, y'all. Stripped of all its branches and cut down almost to the ground. But the great serpent, the symbol of the life-restoring Asclepius, twists itself around the dead stock, and lo, as its side up sprouts a young tree, a tree of an entirely different kind. This is destined never to be cut down by hostile power, even the palm tree, the well-known symbol of victory. The Christmas tree has been stated was generally at Rome a different tree, even the fir, but the very same idea as was implied in the palm tree was implied in the Christmas fir, for that covertly symbolized the newborn God as Baal Berith. This ain't got nothing to do with Mashiach, y'all. This ain't got nothing to do with Messiah. This is the Babylonian Messiah that's being worshipped, the Lord of the covenant, and thus shadowed forth the perpetuity and everlasting nature of his power. Not that after having fallen before his enemies, he had risen triumph over them all. Therefore, the 25th of December, the day that was observed at Rome as the day when the victorious God reappeared on earth, was held at the Natalis Invicti Solis, the birthday of the unconquered Sun, S-U-N. That was purely pagan. It has nothing to do with the God of the Bible. And I know you want to reinvent it and say it got that to me, it don't mean that. Look, this is going on way before you. It's going on way before any of us. All right? What gives you the right to reinvent something that was dedicated to the devil? Heathen gods. All right? If you didn't know, you just didn't know. Now, the Yule log is the dead stock of Nimrod. Wow. Really? The Yule log is the dead stock of Nimrod. I'm going to let y'all figure out what that means. Deified as the sun god, but cut down by his enemies. The Christmas tree is Nimrod, Redivivius, the slain god come to life again. In the light reflected by the above statement on customs that still linger among us, the origin of which has been lost in the midst of hoar antiquity, let the reader look at the singular practice still kept up in the South on Christmas Eve of kissing under the mistletoe bough. Kissing under the mistletoe. Yeah, that's pagan and heathen too. That mistletoe bough in the Druidic superstition, which, as we have seen, was derived from Babylon. Kissing under the mistletoe. Hang low, mistletoe. Man, they be committing sorcery on us, y'all. I'm trying to tell you. This Christmas, man, I'm telling y'all, this sorcery being committed. It's spells is being cast over. So wake up. That mistletoe bow in the Druidic superstition, which, as we have seen, was derived from Babylon, was a representation of the Messiah, the man branch. Look at this. The mistletoe was regarded as a divine branch, a branch that came from heaven and grew upon a tree that sprung out of the earth. Thus, by the engrafting of the celestial branch into the earthly tree, heaven and earth that sin had severed were joined together, and thus the mistletoe bough became the token of divine reconciliation of man. The mistletoe. The kiss being the well-known token of pardon and reconciliation. Whence could such an idea have come? May it not have come from the 85th Psalm, verse 10 through 11? Mercy and truth are met together. Righteousness and peace have kissed each other. Look at that. Truth shall spring out of the earth in consequence of the coming of the promised Savior, and righteousness shall look down from heaven. Certain. Hold on. Certain it is that the psalm was written soon after the Babylonian captivity. And as multitudes of the Jews after that event still remained in Babylon under the guidance of inspired men such as Daniel, as part of the divine word, it must have been communicated to them as well as to their kinsmen in Palestine. Babylon was at that time the center of civilized world, and thus paganism, corrupting the divine symbol as it ever has done, had opportunity to send forth its debased counterfeit of the truth to all the ends of the earth through the mysteries that were affiliated with the great central system in Babylon. Oh, wait. All right, look at this. Thus, the very customs of Christmas still existent cast surprising light at once on the revelations of grace made to all the earth and the efforts made by Satan and his emissaries to materialize, quantalize, and degrade them. Wow. Man, there's more too, man. There's more. It's about the boar head at Christmas dinner. You know, the pig head with the apple in it. Man, it's crazy, man. It's crazy. Over there eating your ham and man, look, man. All right, let's read a little more before we close out. Let's read just a little more. Y'all check this out when y'all get time. In many countries, the boar was sacrificed to the god for the injury a boar was fabled to have done him. According to one version of the story of the death of Adonis or Tammuz, that's Nimrod's son that he had with his mama. It was, as we have seen, in consequence of a wound from the tusk of a boar that he died. The Phrygian Attis, the beloved of Cybele, whose story was identified with that of Adonis, was fabled to have perished in like manner by the tusk of a boar. Therefore, Diana, who though commonly represented in popular myths only as the huntress Diana, was in reality the great mother of the gods, has frequently the boar's head as her accompaniment, in token root of any mere success in the chase, but of her triumph over the grand enemy of the idolatrous system in which she occupied so conspicuous a place. Wow. 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 According to Theocritus, Venus was reconciled to the boar that killed Adonis, because when brought in chains before her, it pleaded so pathetically that it had not killed her husband of malice prepense, but only through accident. But yet, in memory of the deed that the mystic boar had done, many a boar lost his head or was offered in sacrifice to the offended goddess. In Smith, Diana is represented with a boar's head lying beside her on the top of a heap of stones. And in the accompanied woodcut, in which the Roman Emperor Trajan is represented burning incense to the same goddess. The boar's head forms a very prominent figure on Christmas Day. At the continental Saxons offered a boar in sacrifice to the sun to propitiate her for the loss of her beloved Adonis. In Rome, similar observances had evidently existed for a boar formed the great article at the Feast of Saturn, that's Christmas, as appears from the following words of Marshall. The boar will make you a good Saturnalia. All right. And that's that pig head with the apple in it that be on a lot of these people's tables. All right. Hence, the boar head is still a standing dish in England at the Christmas dinner, when the reason of it is long since forgotten. Yea, the Christmas goose and Yule cakes were essential articles in the worship of the Babylonian Messiah. That worship was practiced both in Egypt and at Rome. Wow. Wilkinson, in reference to Egypt, shows that the favorite offering of Osiris was a goose, and moreover, that the goose could not be eaten except in the depth of winter. Yeah, so much more. I think we can, yeah, well, I'm gonna read it on out, though. I'm gonna read it on out. We ain't got that much more to go. Then it goes into Easter. As to Rome, Juvenal says that Osiris, if offended, could be pacified only by a large goose and a thin cake. In many countries, we have evidence of a sacred character attached to the goose. It is well known that the capital of Rome was on one occasion saved when on the point of being surprised by the Gauls in the dead of night, by the cackling of these geese sacred to Juno, kept in the temple of Jupiter. The accompanying woodcut proves that the goose in Asia Minor was a symbol of Cupid, just as it was a symbol of Seb in Egypt. In India, the goose occupied a similar position, for in that land we read of the sacred Brahmani goose, or goose sacred to Brahma. Finally, the monuments of Babylon show that the goose possessed a like mystic character in Chaldea, and that it was offered and sacrificed there as well as in Rome or Egypt, for there the priest is seen with the goose in the one hand and is sacrificing knife in the other. There can be no doubt then that the pagan festival at the winter solstice, in other words, Christmas was held in honor of the birth of the Babylonian Messiah. Look at that. I ain't making it up. This book was written in the 1800s by Alexander Hislop. Who recognized the actual priestly rites that the Catholic Church was doing and said that's the exact same thing ancient Babylon was doing. In other words, Christmas was held in honor of the birth of the Babylonian Messiah, not the real Messiah, y'all. Not the real Messiah. Christmas has nothing to do with the real Messiah. Nothing. Nothing. Yahushua, Yahushai, Yahusha, in English, Jesus Christ ain't got nothing to do with him. Nothing. Nothing. Oh, wait. Oh, wait. Somebody gonna be mad. All right. All right, let's get it. Now this is going into Lady Day, and I believe this corresponds to Mother's Day. The consideration of the next great festival in the Popish calendar gives the very strongest confirmation to what has now been said. That festival called Lady Day is celebrated in Rome on the 25th of March. All right, look at this. Look at this. Look at this. An alleged commemoration of the miraculous conception of our Lord in the womb of the Virgin. On the day when the angel was sent to announce to her the distinguished honor that was to be bestowed upon her as the mother of the Messiah. But who could tell when this annunciation was made? The scripture gives no clue at all in regard to the time, but it mattered not. But our Lord was either conceived or born that very day, now set down in the Popish calendar for the annunciation of the Virgin, was observed in pagan Rome in honor of Cybele, the mother of the Babylonian Messiah. Now it is manifest that the Lady Day and Christmas Day stand in intimate relation to one another. Between the 25th of March and the 25th of December, there are exactly 9 months. If then the false Messiah was conceived in March and born in December, can anyone for a moment believe that the conception and birth of the true Messiah can have so exactly synchronized? Not only to the month, but to the day? Wow. The thing is incredible. Lady Day and Christmas Day then are purely Babylonian. Oh, wait. Y'all see that? Purely Babylonian. Purely. Wow. Wow. Yeah, y'all. I want to share that with y'all. Again, that's the 2 Babylons. You can look that up. They got the PDF online, or you can order the book, you know. Make sure I share that in there too. The next one they go into on there is Easter. Wait till you read that. You're gonna be like, man, look, this is crazy. This is crazy. And I don't know why these Russians and these Germans got so much, like, they is on this channel today, boy. You dig? So all praise and glory now to the Most High. Y'all got some edification and some understanding, give us a Yahoo up in the chat. Give us a Yahoo up in the chat. All right. Ain't never trying to lose nobody. Want to come on and share some of that with y'all. And for any of the naysayers, we went through several Bible scriptures too. And it's many more. It's many more. All right. If any of y'all that's, feeling like, dang, I kind of want to be around my people and all that, make that sacrifice and stand up for the Almighty. Because once you understand what's being done has nothing to do with him or his son, and that you actually are partaking in rituals that have to do with the Babylonian Messiah, the counterfeit Messiah. All right, Satan and his get up. Then, think about it. Santa, Satan, it's the same word, same letter, same word. Let's move the end to the end of Santa, and you got Satan. It's crazy, man. You think that's a coincidence? Come on now. You dig? You used to have back in the day, WWJD. What would Messiah do? Well, he wouldn't be doing this. All right, this has nothing to do with him. And these things and these customs from the trees and decorations and all that, y'all, that was going on way before he was even born. And as you know, they start forming this religion called Christianity when Rome got hold of our records and started deciding what could be canonical and what would be heretical. You dig? They start adding certain things to appease their audience, and a lot of their audience were already pagans. Think about it, y'all. You dig? Then they come up with this Santa Claus. Look, Santa and Satan is spelled the same way. You got to move the end to the end of the. That's all you got to do. Move the end to the end of the word. Same amount of letters and everything. Look at that. Look at that. A clause. If you're dealing with contracts, clause is an agreement. Well, Santa Claus means Satan's agreement. You think it's a coincidence they came up with a character called Santa Claus? On the supposed birth date of our Messiah, who you think they've been, secretly worshiping the whole time? You think that's a coincidence? You think it's a coincidence they came up with them, then came up with the reindeers, then set out milk and cookies to them? Who are you offering to? You think there's a coincidence our family played along with it and lied to you? The whole thing is rooted in wickedness and lies. And they put Satan right in your face on it. Set you on his lap. Come on, man. Like, don't be a child when it comes to understanding. Right, Yazoo Fitz. Come on, man. Stop it. It ain't even hard if you just look at it. Dang. It ain't in the Bible. Dang, they did come up with a Santa. Santa is spelled. You think that's Santa is spelled just like Satan? That's a coincidence to you? A clause is an agreement. That's a coincidence to you. How the gifts get offered or given to you, that's all a lie. That's a coincidence to you. Milk and cookies, food and drink is left out, offered to them. So now we're dealing with idolatry. You got the tree who's supposed to represent this dead God. And oh man, come on, man. They got balls hanging up off of it and wreaths, and here you go bowing to the tree to get your gifts, and you don't even know it. You caught up in all type of heathen pagan symbolism, the worship of the devil, and don't even know it. Sad thing is, once you find out, what are you willing to do to reverse it? Now that you know better, will you do better? That's what it comes down to. All right. All right, y'all, let's go ahead and say a quick prayer, pray on out. You understand? And ask the Most High to send His Spirit to humble our hearts, mind, body, and spirits, and give us the faith and courage to stand against this, dark time of the year. That's right, Iman. Singing to the tree. Hang low, mistletoe. What is it? Oh, Christmas tree. Come on, y'all. At what point do we break up out of the bondage of ignorance? You dig? We got to be better than that. All right, we also want to bring before the throne of the Most High all the sick and afflicted worldwide. Keep in prayer too also the mother-in-law of our Nehemiah, Sister Saraya's mother. From what I understand, she had a stroke. So we want to lift her up in prayer and stay focused and meditate on the outcome that we want. You understand? We ask the Most High to give us understanding, give us wisdom, knowledge, and understanding, that we may have the courage to serve Him in truth, in spirit and in truth. You understand? Heavenly Father, we come to you in the name, power, and authority of your first begotten creature, your first begotten Son, Yahushua, the mighty Messiah, who's currently seated at your right hand. To his enemy you made his footstool. We bring before your throne all the sick and all the afflicted in Israel, all the sick and all the afflicted who are plagued in their bodies, whether it's inflammation, whether it's the so-called COVID-19, whether it's a stroke, whether it's any type of sickness, we come against it. Your saints touch and agree. We come against it, we bind it, we cancel it, and we order it back to the pits of darkness where it belongs, for the gates of hell will never prevail against us. Give us the courage, give us the spine, give us the faith to stand and make that sacrifice and stand on your word, stand on your truth, stand on exactly what it is that you are convicting our hearts, our minds, and our bodies and spirits to be on. For we read in your word that to love the world is not your love. To be a friendship with the world is not your friend. So we stand strong in the faith. We stand strong in the commands. We stand strong in our convictions that you have given us, that we may be a light in this dark world, Heavenly Father. In the power and the name and authority of Yahushua, the mighty Messiah, your firstborn beloved creation, we touch and agree to see the utter canceling and the utter destruction of every plague, every sickness, every disease, any bodily plagues. We come against them and we cancel them right now by your eternal spirit. We unleash the fire. We unleash the fire of your Holy Spirit against every unclean spirit, sickness, and disease. Remember the mother-in-law of our beloved brother Nehemiah in this very hour. We come against, we touch and agree to see her healed. We come against that so-called stroke. We come against any past trauma, whether it's past childhood trauma or adult trauma that Mama Minnie may have gone through. We unleash a complete healing from the highest heaven, from your throne. A healing that's complete, a healing that is understood right now, and we unleash the fire of the Holy Spirit after every unclean demon, spirit, sickness, disease, and so-called spirit that is attempting to invade her body, invade her spirit. Release her, Heavenly Father. Give her her motor functions back. Give her all her skills and her speech back in the power, name, and authority of Yahushua HaMashiach. We touch and agree. Your word says with 2 or 3 touch and agree, you're going to do it. So we thank you right now for the victory and the power and the name and the authority of Yahushua HaMashiach. Rain down the spirit of faith. Rain down the spirit of healing. Rain down the spirit of peace, love. Rain down the spirit of righteousness. Rain down the spirit of abundance. And we receive these spirits, and we send these spirits out worldwide. In the power, name, and authority of Yahushua HaMashiach, we pray and we declare war against the kingdom of darkness. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Selah, Yah. Oh, all praise and glory now to the Most High family. Touch and agree and keep your mind focused on the outcome that we want. Outcome that we want. You understand? With 2 or 3 of us touch and agree, we can move mountains, let alone a whole bunch of us. All right? So just stay focused, stay meditating on the outcome we want, and imagine our Nehemiah calling us like, hey, you feel me? Mother-in-law is all good. Just like we focused on his mother all good. Like we focused on Mordecai's infant newborn daughter. Kidneys functioning fine, all good. Y'all, when we touch and agree and focus on the outcome that we want without worrying and doubting. Like imagine the phone ringing if you got to, and he on the other end with great news. Imagine that, and the feeling you get from that, hold on to it. That's what you need to manifest the reality that you want. All right, we kick out all doubt, kick out all worry, and that gotta go. All right. So look, love y'all indeed in truth. Y'all willing, we right back up tomorrow around 1 p.m. Central Standard Time. You know, going in. All praises, all glory, and honor. Remember, y'all, you're sons and daughters of the Most High. He says ye are gods. That's Psalms 82, verse 6. So guess what? Now it's time to act like it. Now it's time to claim your divine birthright by doing what the most, being in awe of the Most High, fearing him and keeping his commands. That's the entry level position or point. Now you're on the path of becoming one with your maker. But you got to be obedient first. All right. Y'all got any questions in the email, go ahead and shoot us an email, and we'll be sure to get back to you. You understand? We love all y'all indeed, and true strap of a backup long as the king. We about her, y'all.